have been really competitive, haven't they, in away games this season, Perry? And you mentioned earlier on the fact they really can't give Aston Villa any respect. Where are they going to hurt them today?
Well, I'm just looking at Liam Delap up front, who have been very, very impressive with his 9 goals. But they've got to make sure, if it's Hutchinson and Enciso, which we think is just behind him, that when Ipswich are in possession, they're brave. But away from home play, they're like a lazy laundrette. They won't do clean sheets. They've had 1 clean sheet all season. That was back in September at Brighton. So obviously they've got to stop conceding goals, and they have to stop conceding the first goal, because they don't react very well. They've only won 3 points once they've conceded the first goal. So you could see the confidence just drain away from them. What they have to be is, they have to be very, very compact defensively. I saw them at Portman Road, I know it was obviously at home against Man City, and it was like a basketball game. The game was very stretched and very elongated, and Man City just had better players than Ipswich. If they do that today, with the players like Rodgers and Ramsey and Marlon on the right hand side and Ollie Wilkes up front, Aston Villa will rip them apart. So they've got to make sure, when they drop back into their defensive shape, that the 5-4-1, that the distances are very narrow between the 5 and the 4. And I would leave Liam Delap, I would say, don't come too deep. I'd leave Liam Delap up front, so then you occupy Aston Villa's 2 centre-halves, and then you have an outball. So they've got to be very, very disciplined tactically here today.
I've covered Aston Villa so many times over the years, and in fact quite a lot this season as well, but I don't think I've seen a light and smoke show like this at a 3 o'clock kickoff for a very long time. They are ramping up the atmosphere in what has so far been an incredible season for Aston Villa. Their Premier League form not so good. They'd be delighted to get all 3 points here today against an Ipswich Town side fighting for relegation. Sit back and enjoy this one. Live and exclusive national radio commentary of Aston Villa against Ipswich Town as the players line up in front of the Premier League symbol, in the company of Perry Groves and your match commentator on Talksport 2, Joe Shannon.
Thank you, Faye. Good afternoon. There's a hug for Marcus Rashford and Kieran McKenna, who used to work together at Manchester United. I hope the game on the field, Terry, is as spectacular as the scenes we're seeing beforehand. The speaker turned up to 100, and we've had a spectacular light show and the plumes of flame away from Unai Emery to the crowd as he makes his way from the tunnel immediately to our left near the corner flag and walks along the near side touchline. I mean, the game should be good because neither team can defend particularly well, and Aston Villa in particular have got a lot going forward.
Yeah, very much so. I know I might be a bit picky, Joe, but I think they got the timings of the smoke wrong. Because,
I think so too.
Because I think they're supposed to do the smoke and the players walk through the smoke and then they emerge from the other end. They'd already come out of the other end and the smoke was going up. So just a little bit of a technical issue, I think.
Better luck next time, maybe. The first of 5 games in 2 weeks for Aston Villa in the Premier League, Champions League and the FA Cup. This really is 2 weeks where their destiny this season could be decided, and Ipswich's latest stand today in their desperate scrap to avoid relegation from the Premier League. It should be interesting, it could well be unpredictable. Aston Villa have Martinez in goal, Garcia, Disasi, Kamara and Digne, McGinn and Tielemans, Marlon, Rodgers and Ramsey behind Watkins up front, and for Ipswich, Palmer is the goalkeeper, Tuanzebe, O'Shea and Reed to the centre halves, Johnson and Townsend the wing backs, Phillips and Cajusta in the middle, Hutchinson and Enciso either side of Liam Delap up front. And Liam Delap certainly is a player among many across both sides in those forward positions that can do some damage, Perry.
Yeah, very much so. Been very, very impressed with him. He puts himself about, he sets up the high press. He's a bit of a throwback as a centre-forward, Joe, where he likes to engage the 2 centre-halves. So Disasi and Kamara are going to have their wits about him because he likes to back in. He said himself that sometimes he might get a little bit overexcited and a bit too exuberant, where he's just maybe just got to calm himself down a bit. But I would say rather someone like that, they're not aggressive enough. And he's got to say he's got his 9 goals in the Premier League, and if he gets himself anywhere up to like 14, 15 goals in the Premier League this season with a team that's always been in the bottom 4, then you can bet your life that if Ipswich get relegated, then he won't be going down with them. There'll be clubs that come in for him.
Well, great noise from the Aston Villa fans as the game is just about ready to get underway. Ipswich go into a huddle ahead of kick-off. It's a murky, cloudy afternoon at Villa Park, and there is light drizzle in the sky. The stadium is just about full, though, for the second live Premier League commentary of the day across the Talksport network. Adrian Durham taking you around the grounds on Talksport for all the goals as they go in, and you can have your say on the game. They phone in on Talksport from 5:30, but here on Talksport 2, an intriguing Premier League encounter. Aston Villa's latest in the fight for Europe, and Ipswich Town, of course, 3 points from safety, and they get the game off and underway. Ipswich playing from left to right in the first half towards the Holt end in royal blue and white, and Aston Villa in their claret, sky blue and white, playing from right to left towards the north stand as we look at it. Our commentary position about midway inside the half to the left, so we're very close to the Ipswich penalty area as we watch on from the lower tier of the Trinity Road stand, and an early touch for Boubacar Kamara of Aston Villa. Out to the left back, Luca Digne under pressure immediately from Ben Johnson, and Ipswich have changed their shape today to go with a 5 at the back out of possession, and Kamara under pressure there has knocked it back to his own goalkeeper, surely. Well, he was under pressure from the onrushing Hutchinson, and then he sent what I thought had to be a back pass. He absolutely rattled it into the gloves of Martinez. The goalkeeper's almost had to make a save, and somehow the referee has said that isn't a back pass, Perry.
Well, I think Robert Jones, the referee, thinks it was an intended back pass because they say Kamara's got the ball.
And over the top goes John McGinn. Out comes Palmer, the goalkeeper. Was he there to make contact with Rodgers, who flings himself to the ground? The referee says goal kick. And the question was, and VAR will check this in the first minute and 20 seconds, was there any contact between Alex Palmer, the onrushing Ipswich goalkeeper, right on the corner of the box, and Morgan Rodgers, or did he go down without any contact at all?
I actually think it's a brilliant ball from John McGinn first time, and Morgan Rodgers knows he's going to get the ball before Palmer, and Morgan Rodgers he knees it past him. Palmer actually knows what he's going to do and pulls his hands away. Palmer came out too quickly initially, but he did really well because Morgan Rodgers actually just should knock it past him and get the ball himself. So he's tried to buy the free kick and hope that Palmer gets sent off. Really good refereeing from Robert Jones, because he gave himself that 3 seconds, Joe, just to look at it, and he was 100% right.
And so it's Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0. Live on Talksport 2, but that must have been a nervy moment for Alex Palmer, the former West Brom goalkeeper, making his Premier League debut today. Just his second appearance for Ipswich Town. Disasti on his Aston Villa debut with a good clearance out of play, and it'll be a throw to Ipswich, midway inside Aston Villa territory on that far side of the field. And a very high energy, up-tempo start to the game, as you'd expect realistically between these two sides. Aston Villa's home form in the Premier League is very good, but they've only kept 3 Premier League clean sheets so far this season. Ipswich have only kept 2, 0-0.
Then only one away from home against Brighton early in the season. Just looking at Ipswich's shape, when they're in possession, Ben Johnson goes high on the right-hand side, Connor Towns is high on the left to give him the width, and Hutchinson and Ciso then come in to play bases 2 number 10s behind Liam Delap.
We'll keep you up to date today with all the goals as they go in from around the grounds, around the country, as Martinez, the Aston Villa goalkeeper, has possession in front of the towering Holt end. So much character about this stadium, but fit for the modern age. Boubacar Kamara been playing at centre-half in recent weeks, as he is again today. Kamara with the curly hair, turning in field, away from the challenge of Hutchinson, and feeds Watkins, who's robbed the possession by Dara O'Shea, but the loose ball comes to Tielemans, and now Villa looking lively again on the counter-attack. Ipswich already look vulnerable in that sort of situation. 0-0 inside the 4th minute. Rodgers for Aston Villa, 30 yards out left of centre, wide to the near side, and Luca Digne 5 yards infield from the near side, and he slows the game down. Aston Villa go back to Yuri Tielemans, and Ipswich have now got everybody back behind the ball, but that's twice that the fullback, twice that so far in this game initially it was the right wing back and then it was the left wing back Townsend, that they've gone missing on the Villa counter-attack. As Villa try across from the right through Andres Garcia, the new signing from Levante, and it's out of play for an Aston Villa throw. Perry.
Yeah, when Aston Villa in possession, especially when they're building up the back under Martinez, Ipswich basically just going man for man. They just actually putting a high press on, and they were very unlucky because it came into Ollie Watkins. O'Shea, the captain, made sure that he followed him all the way in. He actually got the touch, but because it ricocheted, then it went out onto the right-hand side, you said there, where Garcia was free. But Ipswich have been really brave when Martinez had it, and then when Aston Villa had a really good position, then they dropped back into that 5-4-1 formation.
Leicester 0, Arsenal 2, a full-time score in the Premier League earlier on today, live on Talksport. Big win for Arsenal in the title race. Here is John McGinn finding Luca Digne, left edge of the penalty area, chips in the cross, headed away by backpedaling O'Shea, then a miscue by Ben Johnson. Aston Villa still have possession right on the edge of the Ipswich penalty area, albeit Ipswich again, everybody in the blue shirts back behind the ball to defend. It's not going to be 0-0 this, Perry, surely.
Tell you what, John McGinn has had two fantastic passes. That one, he just put it inside Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was ball watching. That enabled Luca Digne on this left-hand side to get free. And what he should be doing is whipping it with his left foot across the 6-yard box. He just tried to dink it up. But just looking at John McGinn, obviously playing as one of the holding midfield players, so Tielemans has got a little bit more freedom to go forward. But at the moment, it's John McGinn that's pulling all the strings.
Crawley 1, high-flying Wickham 0. Is the first goal of the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the EFL today. And West Ham 0, Brentford 1 is the latest score in the London derby at 3 o'clock in the Premier League. Goals as they go in across the course of the afternoon with us here on Talksport 2. Aston Villa have the ball on the halfway line with Kamara, and it's Aston Villa who've enjoyed most of the possession so far. Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0 in front of another capacity crowd here. Villa on the far side of the field with Axel Disasi wearing gloves. It's a little chilly today. Unai Emery quite expressive already on the near side touchline, the Aston Villa boss, as Disasi plays the ball into opposition territory. Daniel Marlon, another new signing with a poor touch, and it's won back by Julio Enciso, the Ipswich loanee, left of centre, plays the ball down the middle. Hutchinson gets a touch, and Delap is in, and Delap has steered it well wide, but the flag was up anyway for offside. It's 0-0.
Great play initially from Enciso. We said about Ipswich having their 2 number 10s. This time it comes into Enciso. He just gives it a see you later. John McGinn just spins away from the outside of his right foot, and if he picks the right pass, Hutchinson has got himself away from Kamara, just picks the right pass but the wrong execution, and then it just ricochets through to Delap. Quite rightly, the assistant on this right hand side gives offside. But you can just tell there, Joe, that to be fair to Ipswich, when they're in possession, they're going to be brave and they're going to commit men forward.
9 points worse off than at this stage last season, Aston Villa in the Premier League, though of course they've had Champions League football to contend with, and they've got a round of 16 double-header coming up, the start of which will begin in the next couple of weeks. Here is Morgan Rogers in fine form at the moment. Early ball to Watkins down the left. Marlon is in the middle of the back post, cleared away. Comes back to Watkins, into the area, onto the right foot. Shot turned away this time by Kajusta. Ipswich living dangerously, and then there's a foul on Enciso by McGinn. It'll be a free kick to Ipswich, midway inside their own half. But for me, Perry, the wing-back setup isn't working at the moment. Aston Villa, that's 3 times now. They've got in behind Ipswich on their right-hand side, the Villa inside left.
But what's happening is when O'Shea's actually following Ollie Watkins all the way in to try and get, obviously, the touch before him, even if he wins it, then what's happening is Twanzebe isn't going to make the third centre-half, so he's got to be more aware. He gets a little bit narrower, so the ball doesn't go inside him. We said there, it came to Rogers, then to Ollie Watkins, and Ollie Watkins again just trying to whip the ball across the 6-yard box. Really good defending at the far post from Greaves and Townsend, just to make sure that they actually mark the space and not the man, and in the end Ipswich were able to clear the danger.
Walsall top of League 2 but without a win in 5-0. Chesterfield 1 is the latest score. Aston Villa on the attack down the far side the right with Daniel Marlon, the bald-headed winger, gets towards the dead ball line and whips in a low cross. It's steered upfield and away from danger by the former Hull City man Jacob Greaves at the heart of the Ipswich back line. And now Disasi chips a clever ball onto the chest of McGinn just inside the centre circle. He'll go back to the tall and rangy Kamara, and Aston Villa playing with great purpose and intent going forward. And there's always a sense that Villa at home in the Premier League, Perry, they're a different proposition, and a difficult proposition at that for anybody.
Yeah, well, unbeaten the last 11 Premier League games at home. 60% of their points from the beginning of last season have been won at home, so they're making Villa Park a bit of a fortress. I think they feed off the energy, obviously, the Villa Park faithful. And just at the moment, there's a lot of energy coming from Ipswich as well, say trying to close them down. But every time that it's came into, whether it's coming to Marlon or Ollie Watkins, a little ricochet at the moment has fallen to Aston Villa player, and then they get themselves free.
Ipswich without Sam Morsey and Leif Davis today. That's a big blow on both counts. Davis, their regular left back, and Morsey, the club captain. Tuanzebe makes a good interception against his old club in that long sleeve blue Ipswich shirt. Back to the goalkeeper Palmer, who plays a simple ball forward to Dar O'Shea. Back to Palmer under pressure, and he's scooped the clearance skywards, high to the lip of the centre circle. Kamara with a towering header downfield, but Watkins was coming back from an offside position, and it's through to Palmer again. 9.5 minutes gone. Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0 in the Premier League. Live on Talksport 2. The Monday night football in the Championship with us is Leeds United against Sunderland, and then next midweek the return of the Premier League and the Champions League. Tuesday night Bayern Munich against Celtic on Talksport. Wednesday on Talksport, Aston Villa against Liverpool. Huge night in the Premier League. Real Madrid against Manchester City will be here on Talksport 2. As Ipswich regain possession on the halfway line. Tuanzebe turning in field, finding the giant Greaves with the red boots on, and now Connor Townsend in the left back position, his first Premier League start for Ipswich today. As they go back again to goalkeeper Palmer. Phillips facing his own goal. Back to Palmer again under pressure from Tielemans. It's not a good clearance from the goalkeeper. Villa win it back high up the pitch, and Kieran McKenna turns away in disgust, the Ipswich head coach. But then Tuanzebe makes a good tackle on Ramsey, and racing over the halfway line is Hutchinson for Ipswich. Johnson on the overlap, but Hutchinson has slowed the game down almost to walking pace. Phillips 10 yards into the Villa half, Perry.
Just looking when it comes back to Alex Palmer, first of all he went into Phillips in midfield, and then Phillips has rolled it back to him. Then he needs to be going long. He needs to be going into Liam Delap up front, and what he's tried to, again, he's gone back into midfield. That enables Villa to come put their press on. So if I was Liam Delap, I'll be saying to Alex Palmer, the next time, just get it into me, because they're on the full press. I can go up against Kamara or Disasi, and then we can get out a little bit easier.
Axel Disasi on his Aston Villa debut today, on loan from Chelsea. A real reworking of the Aston Villa squad over the January transfer window, and there were ins and outs at Ipswich aplenty as well. High ball up the inside right by Greaves, and too much on that, O'Shea rather, for the on-rushing Liam Delap. 9 goals so far this season, but he wasn't able to keep himself from just straying into an offside position.
But that is the right idea from O'Shea, because Villa again have put the full court press on, and Liam Delap, what he has to do is he has to bend his run, so he has to come towards the ball then to get himself in that right hand channel. And then what happened then is, if Ipswich do that a couple of times, just feed it in that channel, then maybe Villa will sit a bit deeper, and then they can get Enciso and Hutchinson on the ball a little bit more.
Perry Groves, former Arsenal winger, with us today on Talksport 2. Downward header by Greaves into the path of Enciso. 25-30 yards out, left of centre, wriggles away from John McGinn, shoots from range, and that's a fizzing, dipping effort that in the end lands straight into the gloves of Emi Martinez. Kilmarnock 1, St Johnstone 0 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. That wasn't a bad effort from Enciso, looking for his first Ipswich goal.
Yep, he's looked very lively, and Enciso in this first 13 minutes. Every time he's got the ball, John McGinn has gone man to man. That's the second time he's managed to wriggle away from him. He just had little nutmegs, and he's hit his shot with his right foot straight down the throat of Martinez.
Enciso looking to raid down the left-hand side. Looks very lively in the early stages. Ipswich's new number 9, but good combination play from Disasi and Andres Garcia to win it back. And they go back to Martinez in shirt sleeves, away to the right in front of the Holt end. Good pressing by Hutchinson again on Kamara. That's clearly an area Ipswich feel they can target. In the end, it is out of play for a goal kick, but it's not as though Ipswich have started slowly. Aston Villa had that one moment that I think was particularly nervy for the Ipswich goalkeeper Palmer, when Rodgers went down on the corner of the area, but replay showed us that the referee made the right decision. There was barely any contact, if any at all. Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0, but well contested, Perry, these first 13 minutes.
Yeah, very much so. The tempo of the game was very lively. Say, Ipswich haven't just come back, and sort of said to Aston Villa, you've got to come and break us down. They've been brave in possession. they've played the 2-10s of Hutchinson and Ciso, and when they've gone forward with purpose.
Now Rogers striding up the middle, finding Marlon, edge of the penalty area, onto the right foot, shot deflected over the top by a sliding Connor Townsend. And when Aston Villa run at teams like Ipswich, who struggle to keep clean sheets, with the pace like that, they look a really threatening outfit. Corner to Aston Villa coming up.
Yeah, really good play from Morgan Rogers, just took the ball out to the right hand side to Marlon. Marlon's 1v1 with Connor Townsend, and he tries to go on the outside. So as he's gone on the outside, Connor Townsend just made sure that he's timed his tackle really well, got his block in. Corner for Villa over on their right hand side, but we're just going to have a little stoppage for a little bit of treatment.
And indeed, the Aston Villa players are going to be made to wait here. Julio Enciso has gone down, he's taken off his shin pad, and here comes the Ipswich physio to give him some treatment with the rain still falling very lightly here. Hull City 1, Norwich 0 is the latest score in the Championship. Hull looking to move further clear of relegation trouble. Barnsley in front by a goal to nil in League One against Huddersfield, who start the afternoon in 6th position, and Bristol Rovers lead Burton by a goal to nil. Two struggling sides in League One. Burton unbeaten in 6th in the league coming into today, but they're behind early on at Bristol Rovers. Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0 on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Crystal Palace against Everton, live today. Search Now Sports. Southampton 0, Bournemouth 1 in the Premier League. That's just gone in. Dango Ouattara for Bournemouth against the Premier League's bottom side, and they are going to have to make a change here. Aston Villa, Kamara's gone off, and Tyrone Mings will take to the field, and there'll be a change too, we're hearing, for Ipswich. Enciso is still being treated, but we are hearing he's going to be replaced by Jack Clarke, and that feels like a massive blow for Ipswich Town. They haven't got Clarke ready just yet, but I think from what we're being told, Enciso is likely to come off. Certainly Villa have made the substitution. Mings on for the injured Kamara inside the first 16 minutes.
Well, they're just telling Enciso to stay on at the moment. He's gone back down again. He had a little jog off. I think he's hyperextended his left knee, and he gave it the signal, the rolling hand signal to say, I've got to
Well, they've done this, haven't they? So they don't have to be down to 10 men when the corner's taken Ipswich. Tyrone Mings on for what is a relatively rare appearance these days. He knows all about injury issues. Just his 11th appearance of the season so far. You're listening to Talksport 2, Villa 0, Ipswich 0 in the Premier League. Fulham lead Nottingham Forest by a goal to nil. Emil Smith-Rowe has got it. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry 1 in a battle of two playoff chasers in the Championship. Julio Enciso is limping off here, and they are going to get Clarke on, I think, right now, Ipswich, before Aston Villa have the chance to take the corner.
Yes, it's really a shame. You can tell that Enciso is beside himself, because he started very lively in that first
he was
sort of 13-40 minutes where he was a real threat. He had the one shot we've had on target for 25 yards. He's actually in tears. He's got his right hand over his face.
Well, let's hope it's not a nasty injury, Perry, but it could be, judging by his reaction.
Yeah, players normally know. Obviously, there's something that's happened with his knee. He said, I think that he's maybe got ligament damage, and he's actually in absolute bits. You can't help but feel sorry for him.
The corner is finally taken, short to John McGinn, right on the dead ball line. Aston Villa go backwards now to Andres Garcia, far side the right, in front of the Ipswich fans who are occupying part of both tiers of the Doug Ellis stand. The PA system booms above yet again. And Southampton 0, Bournemouth 2. Ryan Christie for Bournemouth, who are very much in the race for European football, and it looks like Southampton, bottom of the Premier League, folding apart again. Bournemouth up into 4th position in the Premier League as it stands. Remember, Chelsea beaten at Brighton yesterday, live on Talk Sport. Leyton Orient 1, Lincoln City 0 is the latest score in League One. Orient going well at the moment. Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0 here. Villa infield with Garcia, gives it straight to Hutchinson. Will slow the game down and find Jack Clarke for his first real touch on the ball. Then there's pressure on Kajusta. Aston Villa win the ball back midway inside opposition territory. And Villa now with Mings, knowing that Ipswich have been shorn of the player who was arguably their greatest threat in the game up until this point.
Yeah, he was having a good little battle with John McGinn. So John McGinn is the holding midfield player in the Enciso has won Ipswich 10. It's Jack Clarke who just come on and play in that 10 position as well.
Good ball over the top by Phillips. Delap is chasing. Garcia nearly got the ball stuck underneath his feet with two in blue around him, and Clarke has won it back down the Ipswich left, far side at the Holt end. Delap with shuffling feet to the dead ball line. Can he cut the ball back across with his right foot maybe? He's had to go backwards to Clark, and even further back is Jacob Greaves. And now Phillips just 10 yards into Villa territory.
Yeah, as Delap obviously in that inside left position, really good play from Jack Clark, Robin Garcia. And as Delap looked out, he actually thought, no, I want myself in the 6-yard box. So he's looking to pass to himself, and he'd actually come back out again.
Good cross by Townsend, thundered away by Disassi on the volley for Aston Villa. Watkins can't control the high ball upfield towards the halfway line. And Phillips in a tangle with Tielemans, and Ipswich have won it back. In the 19th minute, still 0-0, but Ipswich playing with good bravery. 3 points from safety in the Premier League at the start of the day. Leicester, one of their relegation rivals, beaten by Arsenal in the 12:30 kickoff. A significant result for Ipswich Town, and Leicester cannot buy a victory. They can barely buy a point at the moment, so the battle to stay up is still very much on. Villa go back to Tyrone Mings, their long-serving number 5. Manchester City 1, Newcastle United 0. Omar Marmoush has scored for Manchester City, and Blackpool lead Mansfield by a goal to nil in League One, and you're up to date. Tielemans controls midway inside his own half the field, but it's scooped upfield by McGinn. A poor ball, only as far as Johnson on the halfway line, but his touch is heavy. Ramsey shuffles past him on the near side of the field. The Villa fans among us get to their feet. Ramsey slowed the game down. He played it square to Watkins, and so Aston Villa go back again to the halfway line, and Unai Emery is barking at his players and gesticulating. I wonder what he wants more of, Perry.
I think he just wants to move the ball a little bit quicker. I'm just looking at Twanzebe on this right-hand side. At the moment, he seems like half a yard to yard off the pace. Every Ipswich player is on it, and they're all closing down. Every time it comes down this right-hand side from Ipswich's point of view, Aston Villa look really dangerous. So, say Twanzebe's got to make sure that he's more switched on.
Watkins trying to reach a long ball thundered downfield right to the edge of the Ipswich penalty area. It's spun off the turf, and it's a very slick surface. The ball really will travel today, but it's gone into the gloves of Palmer. Floodlights on up ahead. Ipswich have possession on the halfway line with Cajusta. I'd call this an even first nearly 21 minutes, Perry. Would you? 0-0?
Kieran McKenna, the Ipswich manager, will be absolutely delighted, because it's just quietened the Villa Park crowd down a little bit. So they've only had the only shot on target from Enciso.
Well, producer Sal's just pointed out, Perry, that it's certainly not even in terms of possession. 70% for Villa. But you know, when you get a feel of a game, it does feel like in terms of opportunity to create, it's been about level pegging.
Well, what you have to say is, Ipswich have been very brave in their pressing. As I said, they've gone man for man all over the pitch. So Villa just look if they can just help round the corner. John McGinn has been Aston Villa's main architect of that, where he's freed Ollie Watkins a couple of times. All Ipswich have got to have to be careful of. We just saw an example of it there. When it's coming to Cajusta a couple of times, he's actually getting caught in possession, and John McGinn's going to close him down, or Tielemans is. So he's just got to move the ball a little bit quicker. But I'd say that Ipswich have given a very good account of themselves, but you just got to make sure, say defensively, that they're switched on.
Lost 4 in a row in the Premier League. Good turn by Delap to take both McGinn and Tielemans out of the game. He races to the edge of the D, then plays a poor pass straight to Garcia, but he was being tugged back. That's a free kick. Good refereeing by the man in the middle, Rob Jones, who has pulled the play back for the initial foul, and it'll be a free kick to Ipswich about midway into the Aston Villa half. He knew there was a tug back by John McGinn, and so when Delap gave it away, I think Wright, having played the advantage, to pull it back.
It was a great little turn initially away from Tielemans, the outside of his right foot from Delap, and Townsend is completely unmarked on the left-hand side, and just a little bit better quality. Then he frees him, then Townsend get his cross in. But quite rightly, Robert Jones saw the little tug on his shirt from John McGinn, so a free kick for Ipswich, about 40 yards out, just on the right-hand side.
Yep, right of centre. Calvin Phillips with the red boots on, standing over it. And plenty forward here for Ipswich Town in their blue, including Greaves, O'Shea and Tuan Sebi at the back post against his old team. Sent crossfield by Phillips, high to that back post. And the referee has spotted another foul here, has he? Right on the edge of the penalty area. Right on the edge of the box. That must have been very close to being a penalty kick. Fouled by Yuri Tielemans, and this free kick is very much within shooting range as O'Shea went down, and it was actually McGinn who made contact, though the referee was pointing at Tielemans, and a free kick to Ipswich right on the left edge of the box, just to the left of the D.
It was a spotter's badge there from Robert Jones, because Calvin Phillips had the free kick and he's actually drilled it in And you said there, it was O'Shea who tried to spin himself away from John McGinn, and John McGinn has actually put his hands round his waist, stopped him from attacking the ball. Quite rightly, Robert Jones, referee, gives a free kick from a really dangerous position for Ipswich in the inside left position, probably about a yard outside the box.
They've got to shoot, haven't they, Perry? Phillips standing over it, Townsend as well.
When I'm just looking, I think it suits Townsend with his left foot to go up and over the wall. Martinez is just getting his wall sorted out. They did have the draft excluder, which was Marlon, but now he's got up to get himself marking on the Ipswich players.
Midway through the first half, Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0. Ipswich with a free kick in a very dangerous area. Calvin Phillips from the edge of the box, straight at Martinez. In the end, he got the whip on the ball, but not the direction, and he just curled it right into the goalkeeper's gloves, and a let-off for Aston Villa, who can maybe break now with Tielemans. Ball cross-field, left to right over the halfway line. Doniel Marlon, early ball down the inside right to Watkins. He's level with the edge of the 6-yard box, pulls it back to Marlon, who got a touch on it. Now Luca Digne with the drive from the opposite corner of the penalty area. Marlon mishit that. It's over the bar. It's a goal kick.
That's what we're talking about. The Ipswich Town back five, their concentration levels, because from a free kick from Calvin Phillips straight to Martinez, just bowls the ball out within 2 passes. They're down the right hand side with Ollie Watkins, just brings it back. Marlon just comes in on the edge of the 18-yard box. Looks like a mole might have popped up because he virtually tackled himself. Missed the ball completely.
Where's that divot, Perry?
They don't do divots these days. You can't look down. I say unless a mole's popped up. And then Marlon come to Digne at the edge of the 18-yard box. Got to get his knee over the ball, make sure he gets his shot on target.
Goals to tell you about in League One. Crawley 1, Wickham 1. Equaliser for Wickham. Shrewsbury lead Bolton by a goal to nil. The leaders Birmingham 1-0 up against Charlton Athletic in a game of two sides who've been in excellent form. Charlton are really on a very good run indeed under Nathan Jones of late, but they trail at Birmingham by a goal to nil. Manchester City have a second at home to Newcastle in the Premier League. 2 today for Omar Marmoush. Celtic heading even further clear at the top of the Scottish Premiership. 16 points above Rangers as it stands. They lead Dundee United by a goal to nil. Reading 1, Rotherham 0 is the latest score. Blackpool 1, Mansfield Town 1. Mansfield, who've been on a desperately poor run, get themselves an equaliser. And Southend 0, Rochdale 1 in the National League. And you're up to date. The ball is on the halfway line for Aston Villa. Rodgers dispossessed by Phillips. Ipswich really growing into the game. And both teams look just as likely at this point, 26 minutes in, to open the scoring, and you can feel the frustration among the Aston Villa fans starting to grow. Clark with a marauding run, and now on the underlap is Townsend with the cross. Hutchinson inside the penalty area. Can he get the shot away at the second attempt? He can't. It'll drop down to Tuan Sebi, right edge of the box. Back now to Calvin Phillips in a central area. Tries to dink it into the middle. That was turned away. Ipswich retained possession through Jacob Greaves. Had to skip away from Watkins and from Ramsey as well. But it's a good spell of possession this for Ipswich Town. Still 0-0.
It's a brilliant ball from Calvin Phillips out to that left-hand side.
Connor Townsend's low cross is cleared.
You can hear the frustration of the Aston Villa fans.
Well, Ipswich have got to make it count, Perry.
Yep, because Villa have gone a little bit passive. Ipswich have been the team that's in the ascendancy. They've just got to make sure Ipswich, when they get in the wide areas, that they have that little bit of quality which has been lacking at the moment.
The ball is out on the far side, the right for Ipswich Town. Johnson slides in, but Mings with great authority, almost a nonchalance, steps away from him, and Aston Villa have it back. And now there's a big gap for Rodgers to run into. In the centre circle, chinky away from Tuan Sebi, tripped. That could be a yellow card, yet had to be. Rather cynical foul.
Yeah, we were talking about Tuanzebe. He looked a yard off it. It was a really good spin from Morgan Rodgers in the centre circle. Just does a little Cruyff turn, just sends Tuanzebe the wrong way. And I think he's been a little bit unlucky there, because it looked at first that his trailing leg had tripped Morgan Rodgers up. I don't think there was a lot of contact. I think it was his arm that maybe caught him. So I think Morgan Rodgers has bought the free kick and the yellow card for Tuanzebe. And now, if you was Ramsey on this left-hand side, you would be saying, OK, I'll get a little bit wider. Let me go up against Tuanzebe for the next 5-10 minutes.
Marcus Rashford gets a round of applause from the Aston Villa fans in front of us as he starts to warm up. The free kick is chipped long by Tielemans, headed away from the edge of the box by Ipswich's Dara O'Shea. Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0. John McGinn 30 yards out after a poor clearance upfield by Johnson. The ball is whipped by Tielemans to the left and Luca Digne hugging the near side touchline, and Ipswich have done enough to knock the ball out of play for a throw. For the latest odds, head to William Hill, our official betting partner. Aston Villa 2-5, Ipswich 11-2, the draw 15-4. That's all thanks to William Hill, 18+, begambleaware.org. Aston Villa coming forward again with McGinn. Midway inside the Ipswich half, Ipswich with everybody behind the ball at the moment.
Just then when it come into Ben Johnson, he's tried to just roll it into Hutchinson, and what he's got to do is he's got to bypass Hutchinson and go into Liam Delap, who's 1v1 with Tyrone Mings, and see if he can hold the ball up. Then Ipswich might get themselves out of it quicker.
Leyton Orient 2, Lincoln City 0 is the latest score. Orient have won 10 of their last 13 in League One coming into today. Yuri Tielemans, Villa's number 8, out to the right hand side. Andres Garcia skips infield, leaves Townsend on the floor, then tries another clip cross to the back post, and it's overhit this time. Ollie Watkins can't reach it. Sliding into clear is Johnson, only temporarily away. Now Villa are having a good spell of territorial dominance in the game, playing from right to left. Digne with the left wing cross, and it's thumped away on the volley by O'Shea up to the halfway line as we near the half-hour mark here on Talksport 2, and it remains goalless at Villa Park. Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0. We'll give you a reminder of all of the latest scores around the grounds around the country in just a few moments. Well, listen to that, Perry.
Well, I think the Aston Villa fans realise that their team needs a little bit of inspiration, encouragement, so understandably they've just turned the volume and decibels up a little bit, but they just can't get into any flowing passing movements at the moment, Aston Villa.
And Ipswich with Hutchinson, the diminutive forward player, great electric pace as he scampers towards the halfway line, turns away from Tielemans and angles the ball wide to Tuanzebe. But Villa have now got players back behind the ball in the Premier League. Goalless here at Villa Park on Talksport 2. Fulham 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester City 2, Newcastle 0, Southampton 0, Bournemouth 2, West Ham 0, Brentford 1. We'll give you the championship in a moment. There's 2 players down. One of them was Watkins and the other was O'Shea, and the referee stopped the game.
Just have to say that just worried about a little bit with O'Shea with his welfare. He's actually okay, bless him, because he's actually fallen down like he's been hitting on top of the head with a lift, and he's gone for the foul, and the referee just said get up, and I think it was like Danielson out of the Karate Kid, Mr Miyagi must have come on.
And now McGinn has committed a foul and the Villa fans are fuming. It's going the way at the moment though, Perry, 31 minutes in, that Ipswich would have wanted.
But this is exactly as I said, Ipswich have been decent in possession, you know, they've been a threat going forward, and then just see Kajuste on the ball there, John McGinn trying to close him down, just putting his left leg and his left rump across him and knocking him over, and quite rightly Robert Jones gave a free kick.
Ipswich go back to goalkeeper Palmer, who clears long and high, left-footed. As they work it wide now, Ipswich to Connor Townsend, forward to Liam Delap, left corner of the penalty area, in behind Andres Garcia, the angle is tight, Delap onto the right foot, tries a low shot, it's blocked, and Aston Villa will clear away now through Luca Digne. Well, that was a nervy moment, certainly for the Spaniard, Andres Garcia, who was caught by Delap on the hop. He just couldn't quite get the conviction behind the shot.
It was brilliant link-up play on the left-hand side, initially from Liam Delap, a little layoff to Jack Clark, who put him in down that left-hand channel, and as Liam Delap cut inside, I thought he was going to go down because Garcia left the little trailer leg out, and Liam Delap actually stayed on his feet, tried to get his shot away, but because he was off balance, he couldn't get the right purchase on the shot. But again, just another example where Ipswich have been very, very neat and tidy in possession, and Liam Delap, as I said, is always a threat.
Just a couple of goals to tell you about so far this afternoon in the Championship. Hull 1, Norwich 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry 1. Everything else in terms of the 3 o'clock kickoffs is 0-0. Latest scores in League One for you. Barnsley 1, Huddersfield 0, Birmingham 1, Charlton 0, Blackpool 1, Mansfield 2, Bristol Rovers 1, Burton 0, Crawley 1, Wickham 1, Leyton Orient 2, Lincoln 0, Reading 1, Rotherham 0, Shrewsbury 1, Bolton 0. We'll do League 2 in just a moment. Palmer under pressure, the goalkeeper from Watkins, and he's sent the ball square to Jacob Greaves, who's hacked it clear, the flick by Clark up to the halfway line. Game day phone in once we're done today on Talksport 2, over on Talksport, 5:30, 03717 223344 to have your say, as quite a crunching challenge goes in from Townsend on his first Premier League start for Ipswich on that far side. It was firm, but it was fair, and the Ipswich fans right in front of him absolutely loved it.
It was a fantastic sliding tackle, like it had been just come out of a water chute, basically, right in front of all the Ipswich fans. Over on the far side, made sure he took the ball and the player Garcia. So just again, Ipswich just showing their intent. Well, they haven't come here to have their bellies tickled. The only time that they've looked any real danger.
Villa go long down the middle. Watkins is inside the area. He steered it wide. A skewed shot from Watkins as the goalkeeper came out. Best chance of the game so far. Still Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0.
And I was just about to say the only time look any danger is when they had too high a line. Great ball from Disasi, just over the top for Ollie Watkins. Alex Palmer comes out, he finds himself in a bit of no man's land. You think all that Watkins is going to do is maybe just help it over him with his left foot. He's let it bounce again, and as he's tried to hook it past him, he's actually hit it on the half volley and shanked it completely. Hasn't even hit the target. Ollie Watkins has to be scoring.
Millwall lead West Bromwich Albion by 1-0 in the Championship, as Ipswich have possession in their left-back area with Jack Clark. Manchester City 3, Newcastle 0. A first-half hat-trick for Omar Marmoush. Welcome to the Premier League. 3-0 to Manchester City in the first half. And that's surely game over. Very much game on here at Villa Park. Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0. Villa win it back. It's been a tenacious game. Closely fought and keenly contested. Villa have it with Mings. Let's give you the latest scores in League 2. These are goals that have gone in so far this afternoon in League 2. Cheltenham 0, Barrow 1, Newport 0, Bradford 0, but Bradford down to 10 men. Tranmere 0, MK Dons 1. The leaders Walsall 0, Chesterfield 1. Everything else is goalless, as Townsend chests the ball down for Ipswich Town, and they've got possession again on the near side of the field. The rain has picked up. Not good news for our notes, Perry, but it's certainly going to make that ball really slide and swerve everywhere as Ipswich win a free kick on the halfway line.
I know I should have brought my quill and my parchment paper.
Yeah.
Or a little bit of wax.
Well, thank goodness you didn't.
Well, it's very Dickensian, isn't it? I should have brought some.
That's very true.
Dickensian note paper. But it's been a really, really good first half. It's been an engaging first half. I say Ipswich have equipped themselves really well. You know, they've committed men forward, had the only 2 shots on target, but you have to say Aston Villa should be 1-0 up, because the ball from Disasi over top was perfect for Ollie Watkins. He should just be helping it over Palmer on the volley. Didn't even hit the target.
9 minutes of the first half to go on Talksport 2. Kieran McKenna in a dark puffer jacket, watching on as Calvin Phillips belts a free kick crossfield, right to left, headed down by O'Shea. Greaves, the other centre-half, is chasing, hooked over his shoulder and away from danger by John McGinn. Ipswich have competed gamely so far, no doubt about it. They've conceded a free kick, though, midway into Aston Villa territory. Celtic 2, Dundee United 0 now in the Scottish Premiership. Celtic heading 16 points clear of Rangers. Dundee 0, Aberdeen 1, Kilmarnock 1, St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 0, Ross County 1 is a latest score. And in the National League, the leaders Barnet lead Solihull by 1-0. Second place Forest Green trail 2-0 at Braintree. A free kick to Aston Villa on the halfway line, taken short by McGinn, and now Tyrone Mings. More live commentaries coming up throughout the next few days. The Championship on Monday night, Leeds against Sunderland with us on Talksport 2. Then Champions League and Premier League commentaries on Tuesday and Wednesday night across the network. Make sure you download our app to swipe between both stations. Morgan Rogers with a weaving run for Aston Villa to the edge of the D. Now Yuri Tielemans tries to place the shot, and he's curled it 2 or 3 yards over the top.
Yeah, play of Yuri Tielemans' quality. You expect him to at least hit the target. Fantastic play from Morgan Rogers on that right-hand side, just cutting inside. Kajussi just rolls it square to Tielemans on the edge of the D. Just with his right foot, he's just trying to bend it in Palmer's top left-hand corner. Doesn't even hit the target.
Well, there have been promising moments for Aston Villa, and Ollie Watkins has certainly had the best chance of the game so far. But a first half of frustration, in large part for the home supporters. The Ipswich fans very loud and noisy on the far side of the field, all on their feet, belting out the songs. Chris Wood is in the form of his life, Perry. He's scored again. Fulham 1, Nottingham Forest 1 is the latest score in the Premier
Is
League.
that his 18th Premier League goal of the season?
Well, he's certainly in tremendous form, no doubt about it. I'll confirm that in a moment. Cajusta 10 yards shy of the halfway line for Ipswich, goes back to Greaves. It is indeed Perry. Goal number 18 of the Premier League season. Palmer, the goalkeeper, having the confidence to take on Ollie Watkins about a yard or so from goal.
Well, you know when the game has changed completely is when the goalkeeper has the ball and he has a drag back on the edge of his own 6-yard box, and Ollie Watkins goes to change and close him down, and Palmer actually drops his shoulder as he dragged back and comes out onto the right hand side to Twanzebe. That, I actually think sometimes Ipswich are the architects shown downfall. I think sometimes they try and overplay out from the back. That was a little sort of small example of bringing trouble onto yourself and not going long into Liam Delap.
And if they were to get a point today, Ipswich, they would move to within 2 of safety. Wolves are in 17th, but they have a tough game this weekend against Liverpool. If Ipswich were to win the game, then they'd go level on points with Wolves, but they'd be behind them on goal difference, unless you're talking about Ipswich coming here and winning 10-0, which is not going to happen. Here is O'Shea, midway inside his own half the field. Ipswich and Kieran McKenna will be the happier at the moment. Ball out on the left for Ipswich with Townsend. Tries a 1-2 with Clark. Aston Villa have won it back high up the pitch, but then it's cleared away by Phillips. One back by Mings in the centre circle. Racing down the middle is Jacob Ramsey. It's another great run. Fouled on the edge of the D, and there could be trouble here for Axel Tuansebi, who has already been booked. It's a second yellow card, and he's off. Just 40 minutes in, and I have to say, I don't think the referee had any other option. Ramsey was about to shoot from just inside the D. It's a cynical foul, and after all of Ipswich's hard work, yes, they protest to the fourth official, but they're going to have to play the majority of the game with only 10 men.
Well, Ramsey was cooking up a storm in the centre of the pitch. Just comes up to Twanzebe, just drops his shoulder, goes on the right hand side of him. Twanzebe panics, puts his left arm onto his shoulder, brings him to the ground. Robert Jones, referee, is only 3 yards away, and Twanzebe gets his second yellow card. I said after about 10 minutes, Joe, didn't I, that I didn't think Twanzebe was quite on it. It was about half a yard behind it. He's obviously walked down the tunnel just in front of us, very disappointed, but he's put his team in real trouble here, because it's just 2 lazy challenges, both of them yellow cards. Sees him get his early bath with a red card, and now Aston Villa have got a free kick in a really dangerous position in the centre of the pitch, only just a yard outside the 18-yard box.
Tuansebi waved down the tunnel, sent off against his old club. A second bookable offence, 2 yellow cards in 12 minutes for Tuansebi, and a free kick to Aston Villa that really couldn't be any better placed. It is dead centre, just inside the D, about half a yard from the edge of the penalty area. It's near enough as close to a penalty as you could get without it being a spot kick. Perry, of course. McGinn, Digne and Tielemans standing over it. I think McGinn is going to hit this hard.
We say you've got Tielemans and Digne just standing over the wall at the moment. John McGinn is about 5 yards back, so I think it's just going to be a roll and a stop. And then, as I said, John McGinn, I think he'll try and bend it around the right hand side of the wall.
Aston Villa 0, now the 10 men of Ipswich 0. Free kick, dead centre, half a yard from the edge of the penalty area. It's going to be tapped to John McGinn to blast it, and it's blocked. Good work by Townsend, who got the block in. Ipswich had everybody in blue behind the ball there, as you'd expect. Villa have worked it wide. There'll be huge pressure on Ipswich now. Whip cross by Rodgers, headed away, and behind for a corner by Cajusta at the back post. Middlesbrough 0, Watford 1, Millwall 1, West Brom 1, equalised for the visitors, and Brentford have gone 2-0 up away at West Ham United in the Premier League. You're up to date. You'd expect Perry Groves for Aston Villa to go on and win this now.
Well, if you're Kieran McKenna, we've just come up to 43 minutes played. Just want to get in 0-0 at half time. So Ipswich have got to make sure they defend this corner. Tielemans on the left hand side will bend it in with his right foot. Ipswich have gone man for man. 4 of their players on the penalty spot. None of them facing the ball.
And the corner's going to be whipped in by Tielemans towards the near post. Mings with a looping header and cleared away from in front of goal. Comes out to Andres Garcia, hit it on the volley from a long way out. That's blocked by Jacob Greaves. The initial vitally important header was by Dara O'Shea. I'm not sure Mings' near post flick was going in, but he wasn't to know. 0-0.
There's a good corner from Tielemans, just bending it into near post. Say Tyrone Mings got his first contact, little flick on, and then Villa want to get the second contact.
Aston Villa 0, the 10 men of Ipswich 0. Late in the first half on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes. Here is Jacob Ramsey, edge of the D, into the area. Watkins, the angle against him. Watkins, close range, tries a short save. Rodgers turned over the top. Fantastic! The goalkeeper Palmer has excelled himself there, and Aston Villa should be 1-0 up. An almighty scramble, and Palmer's made a double save to turn it behind. The corner's taken short. Now Tielemans, the 10 men of Ipswich are hanging on. Tielemans with a cross to the dead ball line, and that's going to drift over the top of the crossbar and behind and away for a goal kick. Ipswich survive for now.
Well, the goalkeeper Palmer, I think the Ipswich fans are addicted to love, because he's done really well at the near post. Say Ollie Watkins just went down the left-hand side, tried to roll it in between his legs. It was a good save initially with a big left foot, and then when it come back out again, I think it might have been Jacob Greaves who got himself in front of Palmer, got the block on, ricocheted over the crossbar. Ipswich were able to weather the storm.
Well, he was seen as one of the best in the Championship, wasn't he, Perry Alex Palmer? And proving his worth already in the Premier League for Ipswich Town. He did play last week in the Cup. The victory at Coventry City that has taken Ipswich into the 5th round of that competition. Last 20 seconds of normal time at the end of the first half. Can the 10 men hold out until the break after Touran Sebi was sent off? West Ham only trail 1-0 at home to Brentford. Brentford's second was ruled out due to offside following a VAR check, so just 1-0 to Brentford. 4 added minutes at the end of the first half here on Talksport 2. Aston Villa captain the Ipswich half. Digne's cross headed away by Dar Rocher. Comes back out to the inside left. Luca Digne the near side, and it's deflected off Phillips this time. And another corner to Aston Villa, who really have woken up now, and they see an opportunity with Ipswich down to 10.
Yeah, it's good defending from Calvin Phillips, just making sure that he blocked the cross. Unfortunately for Ipswich, just got ricocheted, come out for a corner again for Aston Villa on the left.
Tielemans will take, will he go near post in towards Mings, I wonder? 30 seconds into added time. Floated high to the back post, header away by O'Shea, who's been excellent for Ipswich so far. He's going to have to be excellent for a lot longer in the game. Nearly a minute through 4 added at the end of the first half. Another reverse ball into the penalty area. Headed clear this time by Calvin Phillips. Now Tielemans, left corner of the penalty area. Faced up with a wall of royal blue shirts in front of him. Luca Digne back to Tielemans again. Digne out wide still. Takes a touch, a little slow, and the Aston Villa fans frustrated with that. 11 against 10, but it's 0-0. Backhill by Rodgers, nearly into the path of Ramsey. Hammered upfield by Hutchinson. Up into those cloudy skies. Disassi backpedaling with Delap in close attention. And Disassi wins the header. Here is McGinn.
Just looking at Ipswich, have gone back into a back 4 now with Ben Johnson coming in the right back position. And then 4 in front with Hutchins on this right-hand side. And just Liam Delap just dropping back as well. So basically for Ipswich is a 4-4-1.
Well, they'll need to reorganise maybe at half-time. Doniel Marlon out on the Aston Villa right, and Ipswich just defending the edge of the 18-yard box at this point. First half stoppage time, nearly halfway through it. Ipswich win it back through Delap, who is the centre forward, and he's cleared that from the edge of his own penalty area.
Well, I know that we want to see your teams play the beautiful game and play out for the back. That was the second Hail Mary that we've had. First one, you said there, from Hutchinson just smashing the ball up the centre of pitch. That one was from Delap, but unfortunately for Ipswich, because Delap has obviously just dropped back to help his teammates out, then Ipswich at the moment don't have any outball.
I think the game plan is very different. It's all changed for Ipswich Town now. After a very bright first half, they're now down to 10 men. Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0 though. Ipswich have got to try and make the most of the half chances they have on the break. Jack Clark with a floated pass over halfway. Delap is a willing runner, but he's not going to get to that. It's all the way through to the Villa goalkeeper, Emi Martinez. And 90 seconds here between Ipswich and at least the partial salvation of the half-time whistle. But a Villa goal here would make it so difficult for Ipswich to come back. Nearly into the last minute of added time at the end of the first half. Good cross-field ball by Tielemans to the right-hand side. Andres Garcia in front of the Ipswich fans with a lovely cross to the back post. Ramsey with a looping header high up into the air. It's got away from goal. Townsend hammers it away this time on the half volley. They've defended very well, Ipswich.
Actually, they've gone tighter there, the back four. Say Johnson, dropping back, O'Shea, Greaves and Townsend have just defended the width of the 18-yard box. So now Aston Villa need to get more natural width with Dean out on this left-hand side.
Tielemans behind Digne with the pass. He's 10 yards from the corner flag, but he might as well be 50 yards away from goal. Ipswich defending stoutly. 40 seconds of first half added time to go. Mings to Watkins, lovely flick. Rogers could be in, could drop down to Ramsey, header away by Greaves. That took a big deflection. Unfortunately for the 10 men of Ipswich, it fell to them. They're going to have a whole other half of this to come, Perry. Even if they do make it to half-time, it's attack v defence. And now Ipswich have a player limping. It's Delap, and the referee does not have to stop the game. It's not a head injury. Delap can barely walk. Out to the left is Digne, and Villa at walking pace, 25 yards from goal. Tielemans to Ramsey. It is like an attack v defence drill in the last few seconds of first half added time. 0-0. Talksport 2. Rogers to 30 yards out. Square to McGinn. Sideways and backwards from Villa, and the first half ends. And Kieran McKenna wagging his finger at the fourth official. He's really not happy, the Ipswich boss. His side have a very difficult task ahead of them now after Axel Tuansebi. Towards the end of that first half, 40 minutes gone, he was sent off against his old club for a second bookable offence. Since then, Aston Villa have created one great opportunity. Alex Palmer with a double save, maybe helped out by Jacob Greaves for the latter of the efforts on goal. Before the sending off, Ollie Watkins had the match's best chance, but he could only steer wide when through on goal. It's a shame for Ipswich because in their fight against relegation, they've come here and played with great bravery and looked promising on the attack, but their setup now is going to have to completely change. A long half lies ahead for them. Aston Villa now, you'd expect, to go on and win it. Half-time, Aston Villa 0, the 10 men of Ipswich 0.
I'll tell you what, they'll be incredibly disappointed if they don't go on and win it, that is for sure. You may have jinxed it earlier on, Joe. You said this surely isn't going to end goalless. Goalless at half-time, it certainly is, and that's mainly down to Ipswich's brilliant defending, although we did have a couple of hairy moments in there, but the game hinges ultimately on that sending off for Axel Tuanzebe, and I don't think he can argue with either of the yellow cards that he received.
No, I said after about 10 minutes, Ipswich were on it and they were like pressing man for man. The one player that didn't look on it was Tuanzebe. He looked like he was about half a yard to yard off of it. He was getting caught in no man's land positionally, and I think on the first one he might be a bit unlucky because it looked like he tripped. I think it was Ramsey.
I think it was Rogers. And he did trip him, definitely.
Yeah, and he caught him with his arm. But then what you have to do is when you've got your first yellow, you can't then bring down Ramsey. Ramsey's turned away from him and he's bearing down on goal. You have to let him go. You can't put your arm across him and then like pull him down. So Robert Jones.
It was clumsy.
Yes, Robert Jones, the referee, didn't have any option but to send him off. And from the game's point of view, Aston Villa fans ought to be delighted because, let's be honest, it looks like percentage-wise they'll go on and win this game if they can break Ipswich down and have gone back to a 4-4-1. But for the neutral and for the Ipswich Town fans, Ipswich were very, very competitive up until that moment. They'd had the only two shots on target, one from Enciso, who went off injured, a great little turn away from John McGinn straight at Martinez, Calvin Phillips from a free kick again straight at Martinez, and up until that stage Aston Villa hadn't had a shot on target.
Ipswich are going to be really disappointed to have lost Enciso in tears, as you mentioned, going down the tunnel. They had their own chances, but Aston Villa had 8 shots, 1 on target. They should have done better, really. They've not been their clinical selves today. No,
and Ollie Watkins especially, because he had the game's best chance where it was a fantastic ball actually from Disasi. Ipswich too high line, just dinked it over the top, and as it bounced, Alex Palmer, I actually thought he was in no man's land. He's come right virtually to the edge of his box, and Ollie Watkins, what he should be doing is just lifting it over with his left foot, and what happened was he let it take another bounce. He tried to slide it past him with his left foot and he shanked it completely, didn't even hit the target. So that was the game's best chance. Watkins had another great chance where he went down the left hand side, got to the byline, he tried to roll it through Palmer's legs, and it was a really good save from Palmer, like Inspector Gadget it like left foot where he's extended it and saved it with his foot, came back out, and then I think it was Jacob Greaves got a brilliant block, but basically with his back and the ball spooned over the crossbar. But it's been a really, really good, vibrant Premier League game. Say Ipswich up until the sending off were very competitive. They were in the game. You could hear after about 25 minutes there was a bit of frustration that went round Villa Park, you know, not moans and groans, but it went a bit quiet, and then they ramped up the noise, and then that energy transmitted itself to the players. They pushed a little bit further forward, but with Transabi sending off, he's put his Ipswich Town teammates banging it in this second half.
Yep, he certainly has. So Villa 0, Ipswich 0 at half-time here at Villa Park. Next up, we're going to look ahead to tonight's Premier League action between Crystal Palace and Everton.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the English Football League.
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games, available with no contract on now. Like Crystal Palace versus Everton live today. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
At Screwfix, we've locked in the prices of a wide range of everyday van essentials, like the 50-litre 30-pack heavy-duty rubble sacks at £7.99, WD-40 at £6.98, and 380ml no-nonsense decorator's cork at £2.50. We've got your back with prices you can rely on the products you use the most. In stock and ready to go, saving you the hassle of shopping around. Order on the app and collect in-store today. Prices valid until at least 6th of April. Visit screwfix.com for T's and C's. Delivery charges and restrictions apply.
The new £5 meal deal from McDonald's. Get a cheeseburger or mayo chicken, medium fries, 4 McNuggets, and a medium soft drink for guess what? That's right, £5. Yeah! It's not called the £5 meal deal for nothing. From 11 a.m. Not available on delivery. Carbonated soft drink upgrade fees apply. Participating restaurants subject to availability.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
With up to 30% off selected bedroom storage at IKEA. Lee bought a bedside table to store all the bits for their new knitting knack. So when it's more knot than knitwear, they can put it all in one place. Visit IKEA for all your bedroom storage needs. IKEA, the wonderful everyday. Available online and in store for IKEA family members only from 14th of February to 2nd of March. Subject to availability.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out Goals! With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals! And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
Game day exclusive with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs.
Game day is go. Stimulate your senses with a heavy-duty payload of thrilling Premier League football.
They're back in front!
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2.
This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2. I'm Faye Carruthers live from Villa Park, where it's currently Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0, but Ipswich down to 10 after Axel Tuanzebe was sent off. A reminder, earlier on, Arsenal closed the gap on Premier League leaders Liverpool to 4 points after a late 2-0 win over Leicester. I will run through the other half-time scores with you shortly, but first, let's look ahead to tonight's Premier League action with Sky Sports.
Stay ahead of the game on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games, available with no contract, on now. Like Crystal Palace versus Everton live today. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
Ian Abrahams will be bringing you updates over on Talksport later on, and joins us from Selhurst Park ahead of Crystal Palace against Everton. Ian, it was a huge point for Everton midweek in the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. David Moyes is really working wonders over there. It really feels like they're safe. How do you think his impact has been seen?
Absolutely. Good afternoon from a very wet southeast London. No, I would agree completely with your summation there. I mean, I didn't think Everton would go down actually under Sean Dyche either, but what David Moyes has bought, and to West Ham fans who are listening, you might just want to cover your ears for a second, he's bought more entertaining and attacking football, more goals, and that's something which I think is undoing at West Ham as perceived by many fans, but certainly he seems to let the handbrake off at Everton. The only thing is obviously Iliman Ndiaye was injured the other night, so he's out for, if not the whole season, and a considerable part of it, so he won't be here today. There's no Dominic Calvert-Lewin, so it's all up to Beto really up front, and those to back him up from behind, but they're taking on a Palace side who Oliver Glasner, the second half of last season, really had them firing. I mean, they were absolutely sensational. I saw them beat Newcastle and thrash West Ham here. And again, this season started slowly, but they've won 4 of the last 6, 5 clean sheets into the next round of the FA Cup. And I think everyone at Palace has a smile on their face too. So this should be good between two sides who are probably feeling very good about themselves right now.
Yeah, I bet they are. Enjoy that one for sure. They've played each other 3 times already this season. Everton on top twice, though. The other one ended in a draw, of course, because they've met in the FA Cup. Enjoy. Ian Abrahams will bring you updates over on Talk Sport. That was a look ahead to this afternoon's Premier League action with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games, available with no contract, on now, just like Crystal Palace against Everton live today. Search Now Sports.
Stay ahead of the game on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games, available with no contract, on now. Like Crystal Palace versus Everton live today. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2. Second half action of Aston Villa Ipswich coming next. Plus, we'll give you a roundup of what's happened elsewhere at half-time.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the EFL.
Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
Want a day off deciding what to eat? Sit back, relax, and let us do the thinking for you. And the cooking, and the cleaning. From salmon fillet Mondays to fish and chips Fridays. IKEA family members can try a different £3 dish of the day every weekday in store. IKEA, the wonderful everyday. T's and C's and exclusions apply. Find out more at ikea.co.uk.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out goals. With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals. And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals. Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
At Screwfix, we've locked the prices on everyday fan essentials. Like WD-40 at £6.98, a 100-pack of Easy Fix wall plugs at 94 pence, and a 200-pack of Gold Screw multi-purpose screws at £2.69. We've got your back with prices you can rely on the products you use the most. In stock and ready to go, saving you the hassle of shopping around. Order on the app and collect in-store today. Prices valid until at least 6th of April. Visit screwfix.com for T's and C's. Delivery charges and restrictions apply.
The new £5 meal deal from McDonald's. Get a cheeseburger or mayo chicken, medium fries, 4 McNuggets, and a medium soft drink for guess what? That's right, £5. It's not called the £5 meal deal for nothing. From 11 a.m. Not available on delivery. Carbonated soft drink upgrade fees apply. Participating restaurants subject to availability.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games, available with no contract on now. Like Crystal Palace versus Everton live today. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the English Football League.
This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2. I'm Faye Carruthers. The players are back out here at Villa Park. It's Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 0. Back to our commentary team very, very shortly. Quick roundup of some of the other Premier League half-time scores. Fulham 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Chris Wood with the equaliser there after Emil Smith-Rowe had scored. Southampton 0, Bournemouth 2. West Ham 0, Brentford 1. And Manchester City 3, Newcastle 0. Welcome to the Premier League, Omar Marmoush with a hat-trick there. Looks like changes here at Villa Park. I'll let our commentator Joe Shannon bring you all the details. He's alongside Perry Groves here on Talksport 2.
And a great roar as Marcus Rashford returns to the Premier League. He is on as a half-time substitute today for Aston Villa to a great cheer from the home supporters. So Rashford is back, and can he help Aston Villa make all the difference in the Premier League today? Jacob Ramsey, the man to come off. Ian Maatsen for Luca Digne is the other bit of change, and Ipswich have brought on Luke Wolfenden for Jack Clark, the substituted as the second half begins. And it's Aston Villa in possession with Andres Garcia playing from left to right in the second half towards the Holt end as we look at it. And Ipswich Town playing from right to left towards the North Stand. Aston Villa in the claret and sky blue with white shorts. Ipswich in the royal blue with white shorts. What do you make of the changes, Perry Groves?
Well, it was actually talking at half-time, and I thought it was set up for Marcus Rashford. Maybe if it was 0-0, with half an hour to go. But Unai Emery has obviously decided to roll the dice. Luca Digne is probably an injury for Maatsen coming on there. And from Ipswich Town, obviously Wolfenden coming on. We'd have thought that Ipswich would then go back to the free centre-half again with Wolfenden in between O'Shea and Greaves. And then again, it will be like a 5-3-1 formation with Liam Delap obviously dropping a bit deeper. But if I was them, I'd be actually telling him to stay a little bit further up front because they need an outball.
Rashford's first Premier League appearance since early December for, of course, Manchester United. So it's Aston Villa 0, the 10 men of Ipswich 0. Ipswich, who had Axel Tuanzebe sent off late in the first half against his old team, and they have it all to do. All of the onus and all of the pressure to go on and win the game is very much with Unai Emery and Aston Villa. And already I can see Kieran McKenna out to the edge of his technical area, the Ipswich head coach, not happy with something. And Ipswich trying to make a point, I think, to the referee as well. I'm not entirely sure what that point is, as goalkeeper Palmer blasts the ball high and long from the goal kick and up into Aston Villa territory. So Villa with Martinez in goal, Garcia, Disasi, Mings and now Maatsen at the back, McGinn and Tielemans in the middle, Marlon, Rodgers and Rashford playing out on the left in support of Watkins up front. And for Ipswich, the goalkeeper is Palmer, and they've got that back four. The five went out of possession of Johnson, O'Shea, Wolfenden has come on, Greaves and Townsend, Cajuste and Phillips in front of them, and then Delap and Hutchinson, the furthest two forward whenever Ipswich get possession. And I don't think they're going to have a lot of the ball. 0-0, Perry Groves.
Yeah, just looking at Hutchinson, obviously he drops back to make it a three-man midfield and make it nice and narrow, but Marcus Rashford was just on the ball on the left-hand side.
Nearly driven into the penalty area in front of the Holt end there, Rashford. In the end, it's Johnson who gets across to clear away for Ipswich Town. But there's an anticipation, isn't there, Perry? We saw it at the end of the warm-up before the game. We saw it when Rashford was warming up during the game. A cheer when he came on. Aston Villa fans are delighted to have their new number 9, Marcus Rashford, at the club. The question is now, can he come and make a difference on the pitch?
Well, so he's playing on that left-hand side. He's just a little example there when he was 1v1 against O'Shea, who doesn't want to be dragged out to the right-hand side from Ipswich's point of view. Ben Johnson's got to make sure that he engages Rashford first.
Here is Andres Garcia for Aston Villa, middle of the Ipswich half. Ipswich predictably down to 10 men, sitting very deep. That's going to be the case throughout the second half, you would think. Rodgers on the turn, edge of the D. Square to John McGinn, and now Doniel Marlon, right corner of the penalty area. Scampers infield, a deflection on his run. The loose ball has dropped now to Rashford. Left corner of the box with the curler, turned away by the goalkeeper. Rashford really stretching Alex Palmer there. Good effort from Marcus Rashford. Goalkeeper turned it away. Now Marlon with a cross from the dead ball line, and it'll be swept downfield by Jens Kajusta. So much hard work ahead of the 10 men of Ipswich Town. Rashford showing already what he can do.
Yeah, I think it was one for the cameras from Alex Palmer, because I think he actually should be catching it, Joe, because Rashford just breaks in from that left-hand side, gets it onto his right foot, tries to bend it in the top left-hand corner. So Palmer just palms it away. Ipswich are able to clear the danger.
Cheltenham 0, Barrow 2 is the latest score. Early in the second half in League 2, Bromley 1, Fleetwood 0. Hull 1, Norwich 1 is the latest score in the Championship, an equaliser for playoff chasing Norwich City. Barnet, the National League leaders, 1, Solihull 1. John McGinn for Aston Villa, right edge of the penalty area, pulls it back. Kajusta in the way on the slide for Ipswich. Dreadful clearance by Greaves. It's come back to Andres Garcia. Greaves only gets it half away with his head. Nodded further clear by Johnson. Now Ian Maatsen from the edge of the D with a right-footed curler wide. Not his stronger side, but if the first 4.5 minutes are anything to go by, Perry, it's going to be attack v defence. Aston Villa camped at the whole 10. They might as well put tents down, the way that territorially they're so dominant. And the 10 men of Ipswich are going to have to summon up not just all of the physical work, but the mental concentration to try and keep Aston Villa out. 0-0.
Well, for a little 2-3 minute period there, that was like more like Dad's Army, don't panic Captain Mannering, because Ipswich couldn't clear their lines. The first one was Townsend, where if you're going to clear, you've got to make sure that you put it into that left-hand channel. And then Greaves had a little clearance and he snapped it back into the midfield.
Over the top from Johnson. Martinez out to the edge of his penalty area to clear, and he's nodded it out of play. It'll be a throw to Ipswich in front of the several thousand travelling fans who span 2 tiers of the dugout stand. It's almost quite misty up in the skies now. Had a bit of heavier rain towards the end of the first half, and the floodlights becoming ever more prominent as this game goes on. 5.5 minutes into the second half. Remember, Tuan Sebi was sent off in the 40th minute, and so Ipswich will have to play more than half the game with only 10 players on the field. If they could get themselves a goal somehow, that'd be absolutely massive, Perry. Delap wriggling away down the right-hand side for them. Dead ball line, he can't pull it back into the path of Hutchinson. Too many claret and blue shirts back for Aston Villa.
Yeah, Delap just gone outside of Maatsen. Maatsen did really well, just used his body, just put his left shoulder across him, made sure that he just got his left foot, little toe poke. And in the end, it goes out for a throw for Aston Villa on the left-hand side. You can hear the Aston Villa fans just trying to rouse their team.
All tenders in the sky is the chant. Very important goal for Morecambe at home to Accrington in the lower reaches of League 2. Morecambe 1, Accrington 0 is the latest score. Edge and Durham taking you around the grounds on Game Day Live over on Talksport right now. From 5:30, the Game Day phone-in where you can have your say on 03717 223344 as Ipswich Town win a corner. The 10 men in front of the travelling fans. And while it is still 0-0, Ipswich still believe, and they've got 3 big centre halves to send forward into the penalty area, Perry.
Well, this is going to be their best chances of nicking a goal from set pieces. You said there, you got the 3 massive centre halves, Wolfden, Greaves and O'Shea. Obviously add Liam Delap to that, so just got to make sure Calvin Phillips with his delivery from the right hand side outswing and that he misses the first man.
Here comes Phillips with the corner. First of the game for Ipswich. Right-footed into the near post, and Wolfenden, who half got a touch on it. Important touch by Ollie Watkins, the England man, to get it away. Now Andres Garcia for Aston Villa on the counter. Scampers over the halfway line. Tracking him all the way is Jacob Greaves, the big centre half. And Greaves was really late with a challenge on Garcia, who's gone down hurt, but the advantage is played. 0-0 the score. Marcus Rashford, 30 yards out. Probs it forward to Watkins. Back to Rashford. Here's the chance. He steered it square, and it's wide by Rodgers. Stays 0-0, and Aston Villa now furious with the referee. I think Greaves is going to get a yellow card. for that challenge, very late as it was, on Andres Garcia. He is booked, and now he's walking the tightrope, just as Twansebi did before he was sent off, 0-0.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it was good refereeing from Robert Jones. He said it was just a late tackle from Greaves on Garcia, and but guess what? Garcia's okay. He actually bashed the floor with his right fist. You know full well someone's not really hurt when they're smacking the floor, because if you're hurt, you just lay down and you don't move. But it's brilliant play on the left-hand side. Great link-up play with Marcus Rashford, and then comes into Ollie Watkins, comes back to Rashford. He tries to just pull it back to Morgan Rogers, and unfortunately Morgan Rogers can't get on it, and then he just goes past for a goal kick.
Harrogate 1, Swindon 0. Dundee 1, Aberdeen 2. Goal back for Dundee. And Blackburn, who are looking to win back-to-back games since the departure of John Eustace. They lead Plymouth by a goal to nil in the Championship. Playoff chasing Blackburn. Andres Garcia in space over the halfway line for Aston Villa, kicking towards the Holt end in the second half. On Talksport 2, it's Villa 0. Ipswich down to 10 men 0. Leeds against Sunderland on Monday night in the Championship with us on Talksport 2. Then on Tuesday and Wednesday, the Champions League and the Premier League take centre stage, including Aston Villa against Liverpool in the top flight on Wednesday. That'll be live on Talksport. Well, they've got through, Perry. The first 9.5 minutes of the second half, Ipswich. Do they have to have more of a plan, though, than merely trying to sit deep and stifle Aston Villa?
What I said there, I think they're in position. We've just seen here, they've just thrown it into Liam Delap. He's got to make sure that he holds the ball up, because it's going to be the loneliness of a long-distance lone centre-forward, because he's done well a couple of times. It's come in the channels. This time it's gone into the left-hand channel, Ipswich's point of view. He just made sure that he's chested it, just tried to run it into the corner. He gets Ipswich a throw-in, which Kajusta will take. And
Ipswich, sorry Perry.
Ipswich have brought their centre-halves up because Kajusta's got a long throw. So I say these are the opportunities they've got to make the most of.
They're looking to move to within 2 points from safety as it stands in the Premier League. Long throw from Kajusta in towards Delap at the near post, headed away by Tielemans. Wolfenden then jumping into the air, nudges the ball wide to Kajusta. Back to Johnson, left edge of the centre circle. High, raking ball left to right, and Hutchinson is onside as he brings it down. He takes on Maatsen. Low ball in towards Delap. He's tucked it in. The 10 men have scored, and it's Liam Delap, bringing seeds of unconfined joy in the away section. Ipswich down to 10, but they lead at Aston Villa, and they can hardly believe it. That's the ball for Liam Delap, and that, I tell you what, was the finish. Deft away from Martinez. And can Ipswich produce a remarkable away victory? There's a heck of a long way to go, but the 10 men lead at Aston Villa by a goal to nil.
It's fell in the lap of Liam Delap. It's fantastic play on the right-hand side from Hutchinson, going on the outside, making sure he gets a cross in. Delap gets across his marker at the near post with his right foot, manages to get the first contact, just steers it past Emi Martinez, who's just rooted to the floor. Fantastic play from Ipswich Town. Delap now does a lap of honour, just goes over past the Ipswich Town fans, and we wanted jeopardy in this game, Joe. Exactly what we've got. Fantastic team goal from Ipswich. Fantastic centre-forwards finish from Liam Delap on the 6-yard box. Just gets it with his right foot for his 10th Premier League goal of the season.
Ipswich showing a real appetite for the fight for survival in the Premier League. The 10 men are 1-0 up, but there's a long way to go. We haven't yet played an hour. Incredible noise from the Ipswich fans, and the arms flung up into the air, and the sheer chaos of the away section when that went in. A joy to behold for Kieran McKenna as Ipswich look for what would be just their 4th Premier League win of the season. They are, it seems, a better side away from home, but they've still got to hang on for over half an hour, Perry.
Yep, well, we just said they have to make the most of opportunities going forward, and it was brilliant wing play from Hutchinson. Joe, I love seeing a wing go on the outside, exactly what he did, opens the angle up, and brilliant centre-forward play from Liam Delap, because he looked very lively in the whole game and just made sure that one chance has fallen his way. He's been...
Oh, here's Ian Maatsen from range, tipped over by the diving Palmer. 25 yards out, and he tried to smack it into the top corner. He can hit them from that sort of distance. Palmer makes a flying save, corner to Villa at the Holt end. 1-0 Ipswich.
Yeah, good play from Tielemans initially, just riding the tackle, giving it to Maatsen. Maatsen gets it onto his left foot, fully 25 yards out, puts his laces through the ball. Brilliant brilliant flying save from Palmer over the crossbar, corner for Villa on their left-hand side.
Rashford is going to take it, whipped into the near post, headed away by Calvin Phillips. It'll drop down to Garcia, plucked that out of the air nicely. Edge of the D, wide to Rodgers, inside right, blocked off by Johnson. Ipswich are going to have to remain calm. Andres Garcia with a deep cross. Palmer flaps at it, only half away. Tyrone Mings is there, but he can't get it under control. And Palmer, who's been outstanding, gets away with one there.
Yeah, I think he just lost his bearings as the ball drops over his right shoulder. He'd just be letting it go. If there's better communication between Greaves and Palmer, the goalkeeper, he just lets it go. But Palmer actually palms it back in. Then on the far side, Tyrone Mings thinks he's going to have a chance of nicking it. To be fair, O'Shea reacts really, really well. Just rolls between his legs. Palmer manages to put his arms on the ball.
Rotherham with an equaliser at Reading. It's 1-1. Stevenage 1, struggling Peterborough 0 in League 1. And top of the table, Walsall in League 2 have an equaliser at home to Chesterfield. It is 1 apiece. Deafening noise continues from the Tractor Boys. Aston Villa 0, the 10 men of Ipswich 1 it remains. Ian Matson again for Villa. Out to the left wing and Rashford, who has looked lively. Infield to Tielemans, back out wide to the left and Matson again, a long way from our commentary position. Rashford corner of the box, back to goal. Ipswich have got everybody behind the ball. 10 men working ever so hard, in by Rashford and gathered by the goalkeeper at the near post. Kilmarnock 2, St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 0, Ross County 2, Cheltenham 1, Barrow 2, goal back for Cheltenham, and Huddersfield with an equaliser at Barnsley. It's 1 apiece, you're up to date. And as we tick towards the hour mark, let's get the thoughts of the former Arsenal winger Perry Groves.
Well, now we've just got to make sure Delap putting Ipswich 1-0 up on the 56th minute. Just got to ride this next 10 to 15 minutes out just to make Aston Villa get a little bit more edgy.
Well, whether Ipswich are up or down, Liam Delap's going to be in the Premier League next season, Perry.
Very much so. We said before the game that he's been a big highlight for them. He's got his 10th Premier League goal the season in front of you at Villa Park. And as I said, if he gets 14, 15 goals when you're at a team who's always been in the bottom 4, you imagine what he would be like with a team when he gets really good surface on a consistent basis, because that was a typical centre forwards goal. That is where you get yourself on the blind side of the defender and you make sure that you make your run across the 6-yard box. And it was brilliant play from Hutchinson, who goes on the outside, which is good to see a winger do that.
League 2 leaders Walsall have turned it around to lead Chesterfield 2-1 now. And Aston Villa with a lot of work to do, but half an hour to go. Attacking the whole 10. Here is John McGinn, 25 yards out, wide to the right, and Daniel Marlin, corner of the area, infield to Rodgers now, twisting, turning edge of the box and is fouled. That's a free kick in shooting range for Aston Villa. Lots of goals going in. Shrewsbury 1, Bolton 1, equalised for Bolton. Fulham in front against Nottingham Forest once more. They lead by 2 goals to 1. Sheffield Wednesday level against Coventry, 1 apiece at Hillsborough. Stoke 0, Swansea 1. And you're up to date on Talksport 2. Who's going to hit this for Aston Villa, Perry?
Well, you've got Marcus Rashford standing over it with his hands on his hips. Matson as well, who can obviously bend it with his left foot. Tielemans on the left-hand side of the ball. So I think this might be a Marcus Rashford where he has the laces technique, where the Cristiano Ronaldo, where you just put your foot through the ball and try to get the dip on it over the top of the wall. Just a really lazy tackle there from Calvin Phillips. Really good turn from Morgan Rodgers on the edge of the 18-yard box. And say Ipswich can't afford to keep giving away cheap free kicks.
Well, there are 5, 6 in the Ipswich wall, right on the edge of the box, just to the right of the D. Marco Asensio stripped and ready to go in the claret and blue of Aston Villa. Meanwhile, 3 in conversation about who's going to hit the free kick. Tielemans, Rashford, Matson with the left foot. I mean, take your pick, really. Everybody back for Ipswich. They lead 1-0, the 10 men through Liam Delap. But Aston Villa here with Yuri Tielemans dinking the ball into the back post, headed away by Kajusta. Why not shoot? And Kajusta will break forward for Ipswich here towards halfway. Sliding tackle comes in on him from Rashford. Excellent tracking back from Marcus Rashford, but what a waste for Aston Villa.
Yeah, I'm just looking, he's tried to be a little bit too clever. Obviously the set piece close opposite McPhee. He's been on the training ground, and I thought that Matson was going to shoot because Aston Villa had 3 players on the edge of the wall and they actually broke away to leave that massive gap. So then it was Tielemans just trying to change the angle. To be fair, Kajusa did really well. He made sure he tracked his runner, got a little thicker with his head. and made sure that he got Ipswich thrown over on the right-hand side. Off goes Marlon, on comes Marco Asensio for his Premier League debut. Came off the bench in the FA Cup last weekend, and he's got into the 10 position. Rodgers out to the right, Marlon off, a little bit ineffective. Huddersfield have turned it around at Barnsley to lead 2-1 in League One. Kilmarnock 3, St Johnstone 0. And you're up to date around the grounds, around the country. Aston Villa's next game is against Liverpool in the Premier League on Wednesday night. It'll be live over on Talksport. Here goes the right back, Andres Garcia, midway into the Ipswich half. Ipswich, well, they've seen Palmer have to make the flying save for me and Maatsen, but since taking the lead, the 10 men, they haven't been troubled a great deal, Perry. 64th minute, 1-0 to Ipswich. Yeah, I think Alex Palmer's made one flying save and up to his right-hand side from a really good shot from Maatsen. Apart from that, he hasn't been too troubled. Asensio back to John McGinn. Suddenly goes quiet here at Villa Park. Early ball in by Andres Garcia to the near post. Asensio from the dead ball line cuts it back. The on loan PSG player, not had a lot of football at all in 2025, and it's gathered at the near post by the goalkeeper. All in yellow, Palmer. Aston Villa 0, Ipswich 1 on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Crystal Palace against Everton live today. Search now Sports. 03717 223344 for the game day phone in from 5:30 to have your say as Disasi heads clear for Aston Villa. We say that Asensio's gone and played in the 10 position. Morgan Rogers on this right-hand side. Before the game, Unai Emery was saying that he fancied Asensio in the 10 position, but I wouldn't be surprised you see him swapped just with Marcus Rashford as well. Marcus Rashford come into the 10, Asensio out on the left-hand side. Stoke 1, Swansea 1 in the Championship. Equalised for Stoke. Mansfield get a third at Blackpool. They lead 3-1. Nigel Clough's team, who had lost 6 on the spin in League One, coming into today, but 3-1 up, and it's Shrewsbury 1, Bolton 2. Another game where a team has come from behind to lead. Can Aston Villa do that here in front of the whole 10? 1-0 down to the 10 men of Ipswich. 20 minutes into the second half now. Ian Maatsen inside left channel. Ipswich with everybody back behind the ball. They're defending their 18-yard line here. Just looking at Villa there, it's just a little bit too narrow. Marcus Rashford coming off that left-hand side. Maatsen dead ball line, hooks a looping cross all the way to the right wing position. Andres Garcia is there, taps it back to Asensio, edge of the penalty area, reverse ball, Rashford goes down, referee has a long think about it, and no penalty is the on-field decision. The Holt end appealed, so too did 2 or 3 Aston Villa players. There will be a VAR consultation, I think, here, Perry. Yeah, it was a great little ball in from Asensio, just picking up in the inside right position, gets on his left foot, just easing it to the far post. Marcus Rashford just made the most of it. He's like he's just been bounced on one of those little trampettes, and he's sent himself flying in the air. To be fair, Ben Johnson, he does really well because he just takes his arm off Marcus Rashford at the right moment. Brilliant decision from Robert Jones. No penalty. Never been a penalty. He's had a good game, the referee. I know, be interested to see what Kieran McKenna, the Ipswich manager, says after the game, because I think he might say that he thinks that the 2 bookings for Twanzebe were a little bit soft. But I actually think, definitely if you're on the first yellow, you can't make the foul that he did on Ramsey the second time, where you actually pull them back with your right arm. 9 of their 16 points have come away from home coming into today, Ipswich. They're up to 19 at the moment, level on points with Wolves in 17. Behind them on goal difference, Wolves have got Liverpool this weekend. Into the final quarter of the game we go. Aston Villa 0, the 10 men of Ipswich Town 1. Twanzebe sent off late in the first half. Delap with the goal early in the second half for Ipswich, who have played superbly well so far, but it won't mean anything if they don't come away with at least a point. And at the moment, they're heading for victory, Perry Groves. Yep, again, it's the forwards v defence. The defensive shape has been very, very good from Ipswich Town at the moment, but they're just starting to give away sort of needless free kicks. I think this time it's Calvin Phillips yellow carded. Yeah, I think that's just for a culmination with probably 4 or 5 different fouls on the trot. So it just comes into Marcus Rashford, and Marcus Rashford just gets one to his right foot. Calvin Phillips tries to get across him. So it's not just for that tackle, it's for probably the 4 or 5 that he's made before that. Again, it's a cheap foul. Dangerous position for Aston Villa, just on the left-hand side of the penalty box, probably about 25 yards out. Again, Rashford sizing this up, Perry. I think this is more in his territory because it's just a little bit further outside the 18-yard box where you can get that dip.
knuckle ball.
Exactly, yeah, where you can just get it so it's like the rainbow shape over the top of the wall.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's about 25 yards out, left of centre. Marcus Rashford standing over it for Aston Villa. 1-0 down at home to the 10 men of Ipswich here in the Premier League. Ipswich holding firm for now. Rashford and Asensio standing over it. Here goes Rashford, right-footed over the wall. Hits the bar, tapped in by Watkins. 1-1. Rashford denied by the woodwork, but he was right at the heart of it as Ollie Watkins thunders the ball into the empty net. And Ipswich's resistance is broken. Aston Villa 1, the 10 men of Ipswich 1.
Well, welcome to Villa Park, Marcus Rashford. It's a fantastic free kick. We said it was in his territory with his right foot. He just bends it up and over the wall. Palmer dives full length for his right-hand side. The ball comes crashing back off the crossbar. Ollie Watkins, just exactly what a good centre-forward should do. He just sniffs the chance out as the ball comes back to him on the edge of the 6-yard box. Just sweeps it home on the half volley with his left foot. Puts Aston Villa back in this game at 1-1.
The goal scorer for Aston Villa, number 11.
Well, so often the man for the big occasion. Ollie Watkins has scored. No way the PA announcer should be doing that, by the way. Not when the ball's in play. That's a load of nonsense, that, for me. The crowd can chant his name themselves, thanks very much. I don't need your help. Anyway, 1-1 on Talksport 2. Ipswich could not hold firm, and the cumulative free kicks they've been giving away, Perry, it has cost them in the end.
Yeah, we did say that Calvin Phillips had given away 3 or 4 cheap free kicks on the edge of the 18-yard box. He's been made to pay for that one. It's a fantastic free kick from Marcus Rashford. Just made sure his technique with the instep of his right foot.
Oh, reverse ball into the area, headed away, and now they're under real pressure, Ipswich Town. Aston Villa surging forward, and they've still got 20 minutes plus added time to go. Cheltenham 2, Barrow 2. A goal that has just gone in League 2, and an equaliser for Peterborough at Stevenage. It's 1-1 at Stevenage. Corner taken short to Rashford, and then his effort is deflected behind off Hutchinson. Very tight angle. Another corner coming up here for Aston Villa. And Watkins in the right place after Rashford's brilliant free kick came back off the bar. And Rashford has played it back to Garcia now. Right edge of the area, thought about a shot. Great sliding challenge on him by Amari Hutchinson. 1-1, the 10 men under real pressure. And the header is turned away by Palmer. It's Rodgers with the flick of the near post after Asensio's ball in. And Aston Villa getting closer and closer with every minute that passes to turning it around. They've taken the corner short. Back to Andres Garcia to hit one left-footed. Sails into the Holt end.
What's happening, Joe, is Asensio's just starting to pull all the strings. He's just turning up in those inside channels. This time again, it's on that right-hand side, just gets it onto his left foot, eases a fantastic ball into the penalty area. Morgan Rodgers just gets a fantastic flicked header, and then there's a brilliant save from Alex Palmer, eye to his left-hand side, just puts it round the post. Ipswich managed to clear the danger, and now they just set themselves down. Alex Palmer, the Ipswich goalkeeper, won't be in any hurry to take the free kick, the goal kick.
Blackpool 2, Mansfield 3. Goal back for Blackpool. And Southampton 1, Bournemouth 2. Is there a way back in it for the Premier League's bottom side? Now just 2-1 down, conceded 2 very early goals. Aston Villa 1, Ipswich 1 here, live on Talksport 2. Game day phone in over on Talksport. Once we're done at 5:30, just download our free app, easy to download, and you can swipe between both stations at your leisure. That'll be especially helpful for the live football from the Premier League and the Champions League next week, including Villa against Liverpool on Wednesday night on Talksport. On the same evening here on 2, we'll bring you Real Madrid against Manchester City in the Champions League. Let's just remind you of the latest scores in the Premier League this afternoon in the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Aston Villa 1, Ipswich 1 here. Fulham 2, Forest 1. Manchester City 3, Newcastle 0. Southampton 1, Bournemouth 2. West Ham 0, Brentford 1. We'll go through the EFL in a moment, but here's Andres Garcia for Aston Villa, back to McGinn, and now Disasi on halfway. So how do Villa... They don't need to necessarily force the issue here, Perry Groves, but they need a victory. Oh, Garcia, early ball, back to goal to find Watkins, who lays it off to the feet of Rodgers. Now McGinn. Midway inside the Ipswich half, Ipswich with everybody back. Rodgers no way through past Kajusta, who got a half tackle in on Garcia as well, but it has broken to McGinn. Unai Emery turns away, disgusted in the rain, not happy about something. Play goes on with Marcus Rashford, inside left, sets up Ian Maatsen on the underlap. Maatsen left edge of the penalty area, back here to Yuri Tielemans, and the hit over the top by Asensio. Great football from Aston Villa, but they just couldn't finish it off.
Yeah, they just moved the ball very, very quickly. All 1 and 2 touchdown that left-hand side with Rashford and Maatsen. Maatsen getting himself to the byline, just pulling the ball back. Asensio just getting himself just inside the edge of the 18-yard box as it's rolled back to him from Tielemans, and he's just leaning back. He should be hitting the target. Unai Emery can't believe just what he's seeing for a player of Asensio's quality, because Asensio's had a massive input into the game since he's been on, Joe, when that like number 10 position, just getting the ball, getting it out of his feet, getting his cross in with his left foot, created 2 massive chances. And now it's whether he can again get himself on the ball, just to have that little bit of creativity, just a little break in play now, because Alex Palmer, I think, has taken a tactical injury break just to calm the crowd down a little bit and give his Ipswich Town teammates a bit of breathing space.
Ipswich in blue, Reading, Hurst and Luongo. Aston Villa won, the 10 men won. And William Hill has the latest odds. Right now, Aston Villa 4-7, Ipswich 20-11. The draw 13-8. That's all thanks to William Hill. 18 plus gambleaware.org. And Luongo and Hurst stripped and ready to go. Latest scores in the Championship: Blackburn 1, Plymouth 0, Hull 1, Norwich 1, Luton 0, Sheffield United 0, Middlesbrough 0, Watford 1, Millwall 1, West Brom 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Coventry 1, Stoke 2, Swansea 1. Palmer ready to get going again. League 1 latest scores: Barnsley 1, Huddersfield 2, Birmingham the leaders 1, Charlton 0, Blackpool 2, Mansfield 3, Bristol Rovers 1, Burton 0, Crawley 1, Wickham 1, Leyton Orient 2, Lincoln 1, Reading 1, Rotherham 1, Shrewsbury 1, Bolton 2, Stevenage 1, Peterborough 1, Wigan 0, Stockport 0. We'll go into League 2 in just a moment. The game back underway, and Ipswich, well, not yet making those 2 changes, interestingly, Perry, with only 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think obviously Kieran McKenna just wants to get fresh legs on, because Ipswich have been under the cosh since the 40th minute. Just looking at Aston Villa, so Unai Emery just making signs to his Aston Villa players. Gesticulating was the word I was looking for, to get Marcus Rashford wide on that left-hand side and Morgan Rodgers wide on this right-hand side.
Again to try Rodgers. Sorry, Perry, it nearly went through to Watkins there. Goalkeeper gathers. But carry on.
Yeah, I just think they're just trying to stretch that Ipswich Town back 5, because say they looked really solid, apart from the one chance that they've given away, which was the free kick, obviously, that Calvin Phillips gave away cheaply, and Marcus Rashford crashed the free kick against the crossbar, and Ollie Watkins tapped it in from 6 yards.
Yuri Tielemans for Aston Villa, midway point of his own half, has played it back to the feet now of Tyrone Mings. Bromley 1, Fleetwood 0 in League 2, Carlisle 0, Colchester 0, Cheltenham 3, Barrow 2, Gillingham 0, the 10 men of Crewe 0. High ball up towards Watkins, and he's offside. Rest of the scores in League 2: Harrogate 1, Swindon 0, Morecambe 1, Accrington 0, Newport 0, the 10 men of Bradford 0, Tranmere 0, MK Dons 1, Walsall 2, Chesterfield 1, and Blackburn have just doubled their lead against Plymouth in the Championship. It's 2-0 there.
Unai Emery is going apoplectic with rage in his mini technical area, because what happened there is Tyrone Mings has just played the ball straight down the middle of the pitch. Ollie Watkins caught offside, and I think that Unai Emery wants his team just to calm down a bit in possession and get the ball out into the wide areas.
Well, we're told they are going to make those 2 changes shortly, Ipswich. Luongo and Hurst will come on, but there's no sign of them actually standing on the near side touchline yet. 13 minutes plus added time to go on Talksport 2. Aston Villa 1, 10-man Ipswich 1. It's been a brilliant Premier League game. I've really enjoyed the intensity, Perry.
Yeah, very much so. Say Ipswich have come here and they've made a fight of it. Obviously been the backs against the wall since Trezeguet was sent off in the 40th minute, and it's now whether they can hang on for this last 13 minutes.
Here is Asensio, edge of the area! Good stop by Palmer. What a save on his Premier League debut to turn it behind.
Again, it's Asensio in the 10 position, just getting himself on the edge of the D, just getting a little ball in from Morgan Rodgers, and he's just used O'Shea as a screen just to try and bend it round with his left foot. Fantastic save, low down to his right-hand side, full length and full stretch from Alex Palmer. Corner for Aston Villa over on their left-hand side.
He's already Ipswich's number one, there's no doubt about that. Midlands boy, Alex Palmer. Rashford's corner, headed away by Phillips. In front of the Holt end, and it stays 1-1. Excellent display from Palmer on his Premier League debut. You really couldn't ask for any more than that. Latest scores in the Scottish Premiership. Celtic 2, Dundee United 0. Dundee 1, Aberdeen 2. Kilmarnock 3, St Johnstone 0. Motherwell 0. Ross County 2. And in the National League, the leaders Barnet 2-1 up against Solihull Moors. And Aston Villa furious because they felt a throw should have gone their way, and now Ipswich are time wasting a bit, Perry.
I'm just looking at Uno Emery. He's like scanners on the technical area, you know, the film where your head explodes, where he's going absolutely crazy, and then he's just got to the technical area and told his Aston Villa team to calm down. He's actually said, tranquilo, we need just to be a little bit more measured in our approach, keep possession, make sure we move that Ipswich Town back five around.
Villa will stay ninth in the Premier League as it stands. Ian Maatson infield from the left for Aston Villa. Far side as we look at it now, it's worked further wide to Rashford, who maybe gets the assist for the equaliser. Free kick came off the bar. Poor ball by Rashford this time, out of play. Blackpool 3, Mansfield 3. Blackpool from 3-1 down. Bottom of the Championship, Luton 0. Sheffield United promotion chasing 1. And in fact, that goal for Sheffield United will take them temporarily top of the table. Tranmere 1, MK Dons 1. Leyton Orient 2, Lincoln 2. Lincoln from 2 down. And here come the changes. Delap, the Ipswich goal scorer, replaced like for like by George Hurst. He's 26 today, Perry. 26th birthday.
Well, let's Ipswich Town fans will be hoping that it will be a celebration on the way back on the team coach, because if they hold on to this point, this will be a massive point, just a little stepping stone, you know, for them to try and survive in the Premier League. But Liam Delap has led the line absolutely fantastically for Ipswich Town. Got a brilliant striker's goal at the near post, but Ipswich 1-0 up in the 56th minute. Obviously, Kieran McKenna, we hope they could hang on to that now. They've been pegged back to 1-1 with the equalising goal from Ollie Watkins. So it's just Hurst coming on up front, just to make sure that he can try and get in behind Tyrone Mings and Disassi, just to ease the pressure a little bit on Ipswich Town.
And Luongo for Kajust is a straight swap as well. Ipswich wanting to hang on to the point. We're into the last 10 minutes of normal time. Aston Villa will be desperately disappointed if they don't win it. 1-1. Villa have been playing against 10 men since the 40th minute. On the outside is Andres Garcia with a dink cross, took a deflection off Townsend. Corner to Villa. On the right as we look at it, in front of the Holt end. It's been such an absorbing match to watch, and you do feel there may be a twist still to come yet. Villa corner. Marco Asensio on his Premier League debut will take it in front of the home supporters. Short to Rashford. Rashford now whips in the right-footed cross, hit by Watkins and cleared almost off the line, I think, by Wolfenden. I think that was heading into the corner and the goalkeeper was standing still. It's another corner to Villa.
Yeah, just trying to change the angle, just a little 2v1 situation over on that left-hand side with Asensio and Marcus Rashford. It's a great spot from Marcus Rashford. Ollie Watkins completely unmarked, 14 yards out, scuffs the ball.
Another short corner, Rashford to Asensio, lays it square to Maatson, edge of the D, back to Garcia. Garcia thought about going wide initially, he does steer it wide in the end to Rashford. Right corner of the box, he's blocked off by Phillips, nutmegs Phillips, and now Asensio onto that left foot, tried to steer it in the bottom corner. Really important block by Dara O'Shea, who puffs his chest out. Ipswich are fighting so hard, and you wouldn't begrudge them a point, but there are still 8 minutes plus added time to go.
Yeah, great little flick around the corner from Morgan Rogers to Asensio on the edge of the 18-yard box again, just trying to bend it round. Dara O'Shea hits his back corner for Villa on the left-hand side.
Taken short yet again, Maatson, 25 yards out, worked it onto his left foot, steers it back out wide left to Marcus Rashford, taking on Hutchinson. Rashford up to the edge of the area, drills it in low. Phillips dives in along the ground to block it away. England colleagues together in the past, of course, those two. And on the left for Villa now is Rogers, back towards Rashford, cleared away only as far as Garcia. Now McGinn, they're queuing up here for Villa. They've gone left to right. Mings has got the ball back to goal. Deep inside the Ipswich half. Is that a foul by Johnson? It is. Another clumsy foul and another free kick for Aston Villa in a very dangerous position. Infield from the right. Aston Villa 1, the 10 men of Ipswich 1. On Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Can Ipswich hold out, Perry?
Well, if they keep giving away cheap free kicks, they're just inviting pressure on themselves. Now we've seen the set-piece coach, Ossian McPhee's made himself visible now because Villa's starting to get loads of free kicks around the 18-yard box. So Tielemans is standing over it on this right-hand side, along with Asensio.
Free kick to Tielemans, and he whips it in right-footed, headed away. Rashford on the half volley at the back post, and it's miles high and wide. Poor effort in the end from Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, he didn't really have the courage and convictions as the ball drops out of the air. Again, just trying to alter the angle over with the free kick. Tielemans just bending it in with his right foot, comes up to Rashford, just leaning back with his left foot, just scoops it over the crossbar. Again, Alex Palmer, the Ipswich Town goalkeeper, there's going to be no hurry to take the goal kick. There's no way they're going to try and play up the back. He's just going to old-fashioned back to 1980s, just lower the ball straight up the pitch.
Celtic 3, Dundee United 0. Celtic heading 16 points clear. Bristol Rovers 1, Burton 1. Equaliser late on for Burton. Manchester City 4, Newcastle 0. James McAtee, City heading up to 4th in the Premier League. Wigan 0, Stockport high flying in League 1 2. And Southampton 1, Bournemouth 3. Bournemouth have surely made all 3 points safe through Marcus Tavernier. Gillingham 1, Crewe 0. And you're back up to date. Here come Aston Villa, 1-1 against the 10 men of Ipswich. 6 minutes plus added time to go. Unai Emery and Kieran McKenna watching on from the near side touchline. Game isn't done yet. Axel Disasi on his debut. Angled pass to the right. Gets it back from Andres Garcia. Ipswich still defending so stoutly.
They made sure they had really good discipline, apart from some of the cheap free kicks that go around the edge of the 18-yard box, but they've defended manfully, they've put their bodies on the line, make sure they're getting the blocks in of the shots and the crosses. So now with 5 minutes to go with normal time, can they see this game out?
Hacked clearance away by O'Shea, who appeals for a throw. It came straight off him and out of play. Aston Villa throw in front of the Ipswich dugout. They've quickly found John McGinn. Middle of the Aston Villa half. Square is Maatsen. Further wide left is Marcus Rashford. Watkins in the middle. Rashford initially goes on the outside, then tries to cut back in field. He can't get past both Johnson and Hutchinson, and in the end the ball is driven upfield by O'Shea, only as far as Mings, and again it's attack for defence into the 86th minute. Ian Maatsen's cross and a looping header by O'Shea towards his own goal. Townsend tries to prevent the corner. Has he done it? I don't think he has. I think it is a corner to Aston Villa, again in front of the whole 10. Eighth of the game.
Really good defending from O'Shea at his near post. Sometimes you have to just mark the space. Good ball from Maatsen, bending in with his left foot. Corner for Aston Villa on their right-hand side. Asensio will take it with his left foot.
Here it comes into the penalty area. Palmer missed it, stretching through a crowd of bodies, but it's okay for Ipswich. It has dropped to the safety of the feet of Wolfenden out on the right, and he's thundered a long ball high downfield. Mings heads it away, retreating on the cover. Aston Villa 1, Ipswich 1. Morecambe 2, Accrington 0. Goal that's just gone in. And it's still Gillingham 0, Crewe 0. Gillingham thought they were 1-0 up, but that goal has been ruled out. Halfway line for Villa is the tall, rangy Rodgers. Is he going to have his say? Only lost once at home in the Premier League this season, Villa, but it'll be 6 wins and 6 draws since then at Villa Park in the top flight. Mings steers the ball to the feet of Rodgers, 30 yards out. Asensio, quick fire touch. Ian Maatsen, left corner of the penalty area. Rodgers on the overlap. Rodgers makes the run. He's blocked off by Phillips this time. Everybody back inside the penalty area for Ipswich, but the shot is driven in by Rodgers. It's deflected away, high up into the air to McGinn. Cushion header wide right. The pressure from Villa is relentless. Rashford now with a right wing cross, and nobody can get there. Maatsen back post steers it backwards towards Rodgers, and Ipswich clear again. They survive. The flag is up on the near side anyway, and it stays 1-1. What must this be like for Kieran McKenna, Perry?
Well, it'll be now biting time, because his Ipswich Town side are just dropping deeper and deeper, so they've been defending really well. Their distance has been really good. It's been very narrow from the back 5 with the 3 midfield players in front of them, and just looking there, when it comes to Asensio, Marcus Rashford just going a little bit too early, getting himself caught offside, just enables Ipswich Town just to get themselves a breather, just take this thing out of the game.
He's crouching down there, Kieran McKenna, like he could barely watch. Some in the home crowd heading for the exits. Aston Villa are going to drop 2 points. 14 shots Villa have had in the second half, Perry. Ipswich 1. And yet, both teams have scored 1 goal. That's the beauty of football. Even Ipswich with 10 men for more than an entire half of football, they might be able to get away with a point.
But it's so far it's been clinical efficiency from Ipswich Town. You said 1 shot, 1 goal in the second half. Can they cling on? Can they get themselves a massive point which will go towards their battle in their Premier League survival?
Tielemans 25 yards out, he's blocked off, and now Hurst can come forward here for Ipswich, though nobody in blue anywhere near him. Hurst on the halfway line, 2 minutes of normal time to go. Hurst like a battering ram trying to get beyond Matson. He's poked it backwards to Hutchinson, well held up on the halfway line. Phillips with a careless ball, but it has dropped down to Hurst. Hurst is 30 yards out. Ipswich are edging forward, slowly but surely. 1-1, 90 seconds to go. Hutchinson's cross is turned away. Throw to Ipswich by the corner flag. How will they use this territory now?
That is brilliant centre-forward play from George Hurst. As the ball comes into him, make sure it's rolled across his body, just keeps gathering up ground, just makes 30-40 yards over on that right-hand side, make sure that Tyrone Mings has to come and challenge him. Then as the ball comes back into him, again it's his very shrewd play, just plays it off for Mings, goes for a throw for Ipswich on their right-hand side in front of their Ipswich Town fans.
85% of the possession for Villa in the second half, Perry. But it's 1-1. Possession means nothing if you do nothing with it. And in the end, the Ipswich throw comes to nothing. Last minute of normal time at the end of the game at Villa Park on Talksport 2, live from the Premier League. Aston Villa 1. The 10 men of Ipswich 1. It remains. A point would be big for Ipswich. The confidence of a point would be massive for them.
Huge. Well, possession is 9/10 of the law. That last tenth is belonging to Ipswich Town at the moment. And can they cling on? Can they see this game out? It's relentless pressure from Aston Villa.
Out on the right is Andres Garcia, level with the edge of this 18-yard box, and Ipswich have got everybody back behind the ball. We're hearing there'll be 4 added minutes at the end of the game. 20 seconds of normal time left. Ian Matson towards Rashford. He can't control it. Johnson hammers the ball high through the grey sky up to the halfway line. Martinez there to collect it. The virtual spectator, but he conceded to Liam Delap. Nothing he could do about it. Villa level through Watkins. Here they come looking for a winner. 4 added. Matson with the cross. Turned away by Johnson, and Villa still on the attack down by the corner flag. Johnson lunges in, Matson's touch behind, and another corner to Aston Villa in stoppage time. 1-1 Perry Groves.
Yeah, good play from Matson, just going down on the outside, on the left-hand side, get himself to the byline. Ipswich get a block on it, corner for Aston Villa over on the left-hand side.
Rashford will whip it in. Right-footed, he's going to have to wait. Referee going across to check on Disasi, who is being marked by Luongo. Coming together between those two. Disasi on his Aston Villa debut. The Holt end flooded with players from both sides.
But that is a massive mismatch with Luongo on Disasi. I think Luongo's giving probably away about half a foot.
Rashford drifts it into the near post, headed away. It'll drop down to the edge of the area. Marco Asensio onto the left foot, curls it, blocked, appeals for handball. Nothing given by the referee. Asensio again. Now the chance is on for Rodgers. Turned away by Wolfenden from the edge of the 6-yard box. It is a corner. Absolute chaos with 3 minutes of added time to go.
Joe, this is like a scene out of Platoon. There are bodies lying everywhere, bodies on the floor. Ipswich Town are putting their bodies in front of the ball. Brilliant block from Wolfenden that time. Another corner for Aston Villa on the left-hand side.
It's heroic from Ipswich, but is it going to be enough? 1-1 in by Rashford, very deep, overhit. That's going to be a goal kick. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Coventry 2. An injury time winner it looks like for Coventry, and Frank Lampard is going well. They are heading for the playoff positions. Fail give you some of the full-time scores, I'm sure, once we're done at the end of the game, because they're starting to come in all around the country. Ipswich are 2 minutes away from what will be a fantastic point. 10 men since the 40th minute, and they're hanging on. Reading 2, Rotherham 1. It's a late winner, it looks like, for Reading in League One. The ball is up on the halfway line. 2 minutes of added time to go. Hoisted downfield by Phillips. Hurst is after it. The ball is bouncing. Here comes Martinez. He's beaten Hurst to it. Climbing highest, the goalkeeper. Flag stayed down. No flag against Hurst. 1-1 it remains into the last 90 seconds. Can the 10 men hold firm for just a little longer? Or are Aston Villa going to steal it right at the end?
Can Aston Villa just craft that chance they need? Have they got a little bit of quality in the final third? Can they get it to Asensio, who's been very influential playing in the 10 position? Got Marcus Rashford out on the left-hand side. Rodgers just coming in central.
Rashford has skipped beyond Johnson. Rashford racing into the penalty area. What a run! Rodgers saved by Palmer. Miraculous! An incredible save. That's got to be one of the best saves in the Premier League this season. Rodgers thought he'd scored the winner. Palmer claws it away. Corner.
Brilliant play from Marcus Rashford, gets himself away from Ben Johnson as he just pulls it back to the edge of 6-yard box. It's a full length save from Palmer with his big left palm, gets the ball back for a goal, for a corner.
In by Rashford, looping to the back post. Disasi will keep it alive. Still 1-1 somehow, thanks in part to the brilliance of Alex Palmer on his Premier League debut. 35 seconds to go on Talksport 2. Here come Aston Villa. Yuri Tielemans to hang up a high cross. Mings at the back post. Rashford there, headed away not once but twice. Hutchinson is after it. Villa have got it. Rodgers 35 yards out, blocked off. Now it'll come to Andres Garcia. There are 15 seconds left. It's 1-1 still. Maatsen wide left. Rashford taking on O'Shea. Rashford towards Watkins with the square ball. It's cleared away again. And that might be that. That might be enough for Ipswich Town. The referee has stopped the game, and they are going to make an incredibly late change, Ipswich. Jack Taylor on for Hutchinson. I don't think Taylor's going to get a touch of the ball, Perry. Hutchinson gets a yellow card as he goes off.
Yeah, I think what it is, Kieran McKenna just having a tactical substitution again, just to take the sting out of the game, because he knows that his team have been under the cost of this last 5 minutes, defending manfully, putting their bodies on the line. Wolford and Greaves and O'Shea.
Well, Hutchinson is taking the longest of long walks. We're into added time on added time, Perry. It is Aston Villa 1, Ipswich Town 1. The 10 men have nearly got their draw. They barely scraped away from Villa Park with it, but it'll be worth the wait for the away supporters. Referee looks at his watch. Aston Villa have the ball, and play continues. Tielemans, Ipswich want the whistle, it's not forthcoming. High ball forward, headed away by Johnson. It bounces out, and that is the full-time whistle. And Ipswich get their draw. A fantastic defensive rearguard to earn a point at Villa Park, having played more than a half of football with 10 men. Alex Palmer, the goalkeeper, on his Premier League debut, performing heroics throughout, and that save from Rodgers right at the end of stoppage time will surely go down as one of the best in the Premier League this season. It's not a win for Ipswich, but it might well feel like one. It'll definitely feel like 2 points dropped for Aston Villa. Delap with the opener, Watkins with the equaliser. So much packed in either side of both goals, but it finishes Aston Villa 1, 10-man Ipswich 1.
And yet more points dropped for Unai Emery's side in the Premier League, Perry. But I tell you what, that second half performance from Ipswich Town was worthy of them staying in the Premier League.
Very much so. Obviously, from Kieran McKenna's point of view, the Ipswich Town manager, he likes his team to play very easy on the eye football, play through lines. But this is about resilience. This is about putting your bodies on the line. This is about defending for your teammates as if your life depended on it. It's exactly what they did. There was a 5-minute period there. It was like a scene from Platoon play. There was bodies all over the 18-yard box. The three centre halves, O'Shea, Greaves and Wolford, who came on in the second half, were outstanding. But there was one player that was above all of them, and it was Alex Palmer, the Ipswich Town goalkeeper. He pulled off 6 world-class saves, and as Joe said there, the last one he pulled off from Morgan Rodgers, where he gets a big left palm on it, and it looks like it's going up the back of the net, was absolutely world-class.
Well, we'll get to the player of the match in a second. I had a feeling you might give it to Alex Palmer. I have to say, in the first 90 seconds of the match, I thought that we were going to get some Ari Muric moments from him, because he came careering out of his goal at one point, didn't he, and was very lucky not to have got himself sent off, or at least caused a bit of a situation at the edge of his box. But the whole team defended brilliantly in the first half when they went down to 10 men, when Axel Tuanzebe was sent off for that second yellow card. They defended doggedly. Aston Villa didn't take their chances and Ipswich just stayed in there. And Joe mentioned in commentary as well, it just wasn't working with the wing-backs in the early stages of the game. When I actually in some ways feel as if going down to 10 men helped them in many ways, because that was the first time that Kieran McKenna changed what he was doing, switched it back to a back four, and then they just dug in.
Yep, they dug in. It was a back four when it was in possession. It was a back five out of possession in the second half, because for the last 5 minutes of the first half they went to a 4-4-1 formation. So Wolfen didn't come on. They put the three centre halves in there. They defended deep, and we were saying in the commentary that Ipswich had to make the most of their chances when they went forward, whether it could be a set piece or throw in. But actually the goal that they crafted was absolutely outstanding. It was a brilliant crossfield ball from Wolfenden over to Hutchinson on the right hand side in front of the Ipswich Town fans. Hutchinson then goes on the outside of Matson, gets his cross in, and Liam Delap, I watched his movement as Hutchinson was going down the right hand side. He just pulled away from Tyrone Mings, and then he just made sure that he got the blind side of him and made a brilliant run across the 6-yard box. And as the ball came in, he just flicked it with his inset with his right foot, gave Martinez absolutely no chance. It was a world-class finish from a very, very impressive young centre forward in Liam Delap, and they went and celebrated in front of the Ipswich Town fans. They couldn't believe their luck that their team had actually gone 1-0 up, and it was whether then Ipswich, whether they could hold on and keep Aston Villa out.
And it'll feel like 3 points to Ipswich as well. It has moved them up a place because Leicester lost to Arsenal in the early kick-off, which was live on Talksport. But actually, let's just have a look at some of the positives from an Aston Villa point of view, because I thought when Marcus Rashford came on at half-time, he was absolutely fantastic. Unlucky not to get his goal. Brilliant reaction from Watkins to actually put it in the back of the net. And he just kept pushing, didn't he? He looks in really good shape, bearing in mind he's barely played any football. He's clearly been on top of it and has just been unhappy at Manchester United. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can bring to Manchester United for the rest to Aston Villa for the rest of the season.
Yeah, but I think playing out on that left-hand side, Ipswich dropped deeper and deeper, and he looked sharp. He looked vibrant. He looked like he had energy. You know, his body language was better, Faye. Whereas before Manchester United, he was sort of hunched over, looked like he wasn't enjoying himself. As you said there, had a fantastic free kick with his right foot, instep, up and over the wall, came crashing back off the crossbar. Really, really sharp finish from Ollie Watkins as the ball come back on the edge 6-yard box. He swept it in on the half volley with his left foot. Obviously put Aston Villa back in the game at 1-1. But Rashford was more impressive when he had the ball at his feet. His first thought was, can I take the fullback on? Whether it was Johnson or O'Shea out there, can I get past him? Whereas before with Manchester United, he was just passing it inside, taking the easy option. So he looked like it was revitalised, but this is in little 25-30 minute bursts. We've got to see if he can do that over a period of 90 minutes. And he nearly crafted the winning goal when he had a brilliant run down the left-hand side, left two players in his wake, got to the byline, pulled it back to Rodgers, and it was another world-class save from Alex Palmer. So Marcus Rashford did have an impact, and so did Asensio. I thought Asensio was very good in the 10 position.
Apart from that poor miss that had Unai Emery turning his back in disgust.
Well, Unai Emery was telling his team to calm down, and I thought his head was going to explode because he was losing it on his probably one of the smallest technical areas that you'll see.
I can understand why. Producer Sal's just showed me the second half stats. They had 17 shots, Aston Villa, in the second half to 1 for Ipswich, which is quite incredible. But anyway, you've mentioned him already, so it is time for us now to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
I mean, if you're going to make a Premier League debut, make one like that, I would say.
Very much so. Mentioned dispatches for Liam Delap. I thought he led the line really well when he was feeding on scraps, and obviously he got his goal, which he took fantastically well. The three centre halves, O'Shea, Greaves and Wolfen, obviously, who came on, defended manfully. The whole team put their bodies on the line, but there was one player that I thought was outstanding. You said in the first half he looked a bit shaky when he was on the ball. He had one drag back, actually, I can remember, in the 6-yard box where Watkins went to close him down. He had a drag back, dropped his shoulder, and you think, oh, actually, you're quite confident. But his positional play and his reflexes were absolutely outstanding. I would say that, you say Aston Villa had 17 shots in that second half. They had 25 in total, the 6 saves that he made were all top quality saves. They weren't just routine ones. And the one last at the end from Rodgers was absolutely world class. So I don't think it's particularly difficult when your team goes down to 10 men on the 40th minute, and then you actually only let in one goal, which was a ball that came back off the crossbar, which he had no chance with. Then the goalkeeper for me, Alex Palmer, was by far the man of the match.
I agree with you. That was our man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.